lot of potential when it comes down to the African region, which I think is absolutely insane. And hopefully we're going to have some big African regions making it to the PMGCs or the PMWLs throughout the year. That is what we're going to be seeing. But before we do dive into the nitty gritty of it all, before we talk about format and all that good stuff and the schedule for today, I say we also got to keep in mind that this event is sponsored by none other than Oppo Reno 5 phone. So just in case you guys are not too familiar, the coming Oppo Reno 5 series will be the official designated smartphone of the PUBG Mobile Middle East and Africa esports in the 2021 season. Equipped with excellent hardware and software for gaming, the device should always be your lift to the upgraded fun and enjoyment of the battlefield. So if you want to have some fun, on PUBG Mobile and have it in quality time, this is definitely going to be for the phone for all of you beautiful people out there. I might get one myself because I need a new phone right now. I'm a poor lad when it comes down to mobile gaming. Normally I play on iPad, but everyone hates iPad players in the competitive scene. I might try and go over to phone soon.
Yeah, I mean, the Oppo Reno 5 is the best thing for it as well. You're always on the travel item, Max. This thing incorporates 5G. So if you're on the plane, traveling to wherever you need to be, you can be playing PUBG Mobile wherever, whenever. This thing also sports 90 hertz refresh rate. So that thing's going to give you some crisp definition whilst you're in game. And you're not going to miss anyone poking their head out from behind a tree.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the phone for all you guys at home if you want to try and get maybe involved in esports of PUBG Mobile out there. But now we talked over that, we are maybe going to start talking about what's going to be happening today. This event, throughout the entirety of PMCO, we're going to have 10 days of show coming your way, and the schedule for today is going to be as seen on your screen currently. 4 games coming up. Unfortunately, no more Vikendi. I'm a little bit sad about that one, as it was my favorite map. But you know what? We shall move on. 4 games today, double Erangel, 1 Sanhok, and 1 Miramar for Group A and B that are going to be sticking with us the entirety of today here, Blank.
Yeah, no, I personally really love this change, actually. So it means that teams that throughout the day, they can get a feel for one another, and you get this kind of a storyline that's built up throughout the day. It's like you see the same teams, similar faces, and when we get to that final match on match 4 Erangel, we can see a full story built up, and we can close the page on that one and move to the next day, onto the next chapter. So I'm personally a really big fan of this change. Vikendi being removed is, I don't want to say it was necessary. I think that map definitely needs a few tweaks here and there in terms of just circles, but it was one of my favorite maps to watch, to be quite honest, and I think teams got quite used to playing it. I think in PMGC, it was really fun to watch. Teams were extremely aggressive, taking position all over the place, and that's something you'll have to do here on Erangel, which will be our first map. There are some real prime spots here, Max.
Yeah, I mean, we had that castle finish with Footballist, and they're like, Maxman was having way too much fun with that one. We're going to yeet that one out of the format entirely, and we'll bring it back later. But overall, yeah, Erangel's going to be really fun, of course. This is going to be the map that was going to be played throughout the entirety of this PMCO for the African region, twice per day, at the start and at the end of the day. So, of course, if you're a team that comes out onto this one as being an extremely consistent and strong team onto Erangel, you'll have a little bit of an edge, a little bit similar to the likes of Nova Esports, or maybe the likes also of Argument in the PMGC that come from China that only play Miramar and also Erangel. So if you're a team maybe similar to them in the terms that like you are strong on Erangel, you will definitely come in strong with a pretty good lead potentially.
Let me just ask you a quick question here, though, Max, because we are playing the same groups all day. We got 10 days before hitting the finals. I have just got word that, we will be cutting 16 teams from the group stages going into the finals. So that's a lot of players who will be removed fairly damn quickly. A total of 64, assuming that every team sports 4 players. Look, the issue here is, Max, if you have a bad day, it's not going to be a case you play 2 maps and you're done and you can reconsolidate. You have to play throughout all those maps. So if you start bad on Erangel here, Max, do you think things can go badly very quickly? Or do you think teams will be able to bounce back?
I think overall, when you have such a, this is a lot longer format than, for example, the PC or also the PMGC finals we had in Dubai. So I think overall, here you're aiming mainly for consistency. One bad game, it happens to everyone, happens to me all the time. I personally get it. But if you just come into this one and you have a first game, and it just doesn't work that good, just keep a good mindset. It's a long format tournament, and consistency is going to be the thing that rewards you the most, I would say, going throughout this entire event. And if you are a team that doesn't get those chicken dinners, you don't really need it. You need to be part of the top 50%, which at the end is not that hard to do. I'm saying that because I'm casting. If I was playing that, it'll be a completely different ball game. But really, top 50% is 100% doable without even taking one single win. So consistency, good position, good rotations are going to be the important things I'm going to be mainly looking out for today.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's still this requirement to get towards the end of those games, but it's not as much. We've changed the point systems quite drastically from about a year and a half ago, where we're spawning 20 points for a chicken dinner. And I think before that, we even spawning, I believe it was 30 or something ridiculous for a chicken dinner. So we've halved that throughout the competitive scene. And now it's much more important that you can get to those top numbers and you can hit through those consistent kills throughout the match, which you've seen some teams just absolutely excel in. Some teams, like you say, they don't go for chicken dinners. They just go for those consistent gameplay, hit up some big kills, have some fantastic games, maybe grab a fourth spot, and they're done. They've got their points to qualify through. I still think, though, yes, it's doable, Max, but if we go back to MENA region, because you were there for that one, casting, Max, you did a fantastic job. But that was very close. That was very, very close. And I think that if we continue to see that, it's going to be a real brawl here.
I think definitely that's going to be the case coming into this. And also one thing that I really like is you mentioned it, like before Africa and also MENA were like mixed up, so their meta kind of itched off of each other. One thing that I'm really, really waiting to see is what the meta of the African region standing on their own is going to look like. Are they going to be, very nade focused? Is going to be heavily focused on aggressive play styles, or is it just going to be very heavily focused on rotations? I can't wait to see how this region as a whole, not just the teams, but the region as a whole stands out in the competitive scene on their first attempt on their own PMCO, and that's what I'm looking at mostly here. And also I had the chance to cast a few events with Nigeria, Scorpio X tournament, that's like a year and a half ago. So I do tend to see that beforehand, when I was doing African region events before, they were super aggressive teams. So I'm hoping to still see a little bit of that, 2019 experience that I had back then, to see if the teams are still as aggressive as they used to be. Because if they are, man, we're going to have some great games happening today.
Yeah, back when you were 15 years old, such a long time ago.
I just got 23 a few days. I was 20, okay? I was like 21. I mean, okay, I get that the receding hairline can be a little bit deceptive. I get it, okay? It's fine. But no, I'm not.
You're spotting it. You're spotting it. I'm loving what's going on the beard right now. I'm joining in too. We're looking cool. We're looking fresh. Look, hopefully we can see the teams actually be just as fresh coming to this match. I think Influence Rage is one that very much interests me, just purely from watching them in Americas last year. They were a really aggressive team over there. So I wonder if, some of that playstyle has been transferred across to this team now playing in Africa. If so, I'd be really excited to see it. It was incredible watching them just run around the map, gun people down. And you were like, okay, these guys have done pretty badly most maps, but they're spawning 6 kills per game sometimes and doing that with fairly good consistency, but going out in 12th? What? So it's kind of like the Hitman squad. I'd like to see that again. That was fun to watch. Do it some more, and hopefully this time Influence Rage can actually qualify through to a finals.
We want some wacky gameplay coming to today, but also one thing you've got to keep in mind is that this is the lowest level of PUBG Mobile esports competitive. I am not shooting shots to anyone right here, okay? This is in fact officially the lowest level in competitive PUBG Mobile so far, right? So you're gonna have a little bit of ups and downs. You're gonna have some plays that are maybe gonna be a little bit questionable, and that's when the teams that really stand out are gonna be. They are teams that are gonna be looking at throughout the entirety, making it into the finals and even the events after that. Because you got to keep in mind that after PMCO, you said we got many PMCOs. We got so many PMPLs coming around the corner. What's the number exactly? Isn't it 7 or something? We got so many coming up. So honestly, they are 100% going to have a chance to make it really far.
Yeah, there are a lot still to be announced. There's a lot more little events still to be announced. So guys, stay tuned. There is a lot more fun on the way. But yeah, we have a decent timeline of what's going on this year. We got some regionals coming through. We have something special at the end of the year. So we're all really, really excited, to be honest with you. But there's so much. And like you said, this is the lowest official. Come on, it's the lowest official. We still have tier 5 scrims going around all over the place where you can start to see some people putting some mad shows on. I've watched some of those actually, and it just tends to be one guy who's just demolishing the lobby, and you're like, yeah, he's probably going to do well in the PMCO somewhere. But it's good to watch. And I think that right now, this is the first step in a very long journey. And I think that if you can start strong, you want to start strong and solid, though, because you don't want to have these freaky games where you're like, okay, this team does really well on one day, but we need to keep seeing that from them. And I think that what would excite me the most. I'm not sure if I'll be here for the next couple of days, but I'll definitely be tuning in, definitely watching, keeping up to date. But the thing is, I'd like to see a team with a wacky playstyle be able to recreate that and duplicate it every day.
I think overall, like, consistency is going to be key. I know that's the word I was hammering down during the PMGC League stage in Poland. That was every day. It's just like, oh, consistent. If you're not consistent, how dare you be here? But like, of course, that's what we're going to be aiming to see these teams trying to achieve, and especially like kills. Talking about kills, also we talk about the chicken dinners. 1 kill is going to be equal 1 point. That has always been the case in PUBG Mobile Competitive, and it's still going to be the case now. So teams that tend to go pretty aggressive in a lobby that's going to be as wide as this one in the early days of competitive esports for PUBG Mobile in Africa, teams that go big and frag out, get like 10 frags almost every single game, because I believe that what I seen in like 2019, I think that might be a possibility coming into this. Teams just like dominating in terms of frags and then everyone else just dying. I'm intrigued to see, because I want to see the teams that are going to be the big fraggers, and I think that those are going to be the ones that are really going to set a standard for what the African play style would actually look like.
Yeah. Is there any teams that interest you in particular here, Max?
Mainly I'm going to be looking out for Blackjack Esports. Reason why Blackjack Esports is because I have a good friend of mine, Swave, which is actually involved with the team, and I know that he was doing stuff in like the EU region and all around in PMCOs back in the day. So I'm intrigued to see what his experience can bring to the table for Blackjack Esports. So that's going to be the one I'm going to be looking out for. But also, I mentioned it, you have some pretty good orgs, especially Zeus Esports, Godsent Temper, and also Gamers Unite Nations coming into this one. So if they got picked up at this early stage, it shows to me that there's some potential that has been seen in those teams that hopefully they can show and shine through today.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm really excited for the games overall, Max. Quite honestly, I mean,
let us in.
Let us in. Let us in. I think the thing is that this is like it's a birth of a new era of PUBG Mobile. Let's put it that way. But we will be getting to game very shortly. 30 seconds. That comes from the producer themselves. So we're ready to go. I believe it. So we're going to be jumping into the plane, jumping into the match. Our angle. Predictions, Max. Come on. Predictions mean nothing right now because we know nothing. So there's nothing on the line right now.
You're throwing me under the best for a second. We can do a prediction on the circle where it's going to go, though. That's something we can potentially do.
Give me a team.
No.
I'm saying a Felion APX. That's what I'm saying.
Because I haven't watched Naruto in a minute, I'm going to say Pain AF. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen, finally jumping into the first game of the group stage of PMCO Africa region for the Spring Split 2021. And the playing path is going to be now coming on through from what I believe is, if I'm not mistaken, from the southwest to the northeast. Did I get it right? We'll check the mini-map when it pops off. If it does, and I'm right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We identified it. We saw Sosnovka military base down there on the south side, but already having teams drop out. I think that's a couple of teams actually dropping down to Primorsk, Ferry Pier, SG actually going to head up towards Hospital, Influence Rage. I want to see these guys dropping Pachinki. Aggressive team. Come on, show me the Pachinki drop. Show me the middle of the map. Take control, and we'll see what happens from there. We've got Kage in the map. Kakashi too, you told me. So already got some Naruto themes coming through right now. I'm happy to see it. Let's go, boys.
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys at home, the PUBG Mobile team do not know what mistake they've done. Me was blank. We are going to do some JoJo references, left, right, and center. You are not ready, so prepare yourself and get nicely unseated. But this playing path, you couldn't ask for a better playing path to kick off this entire event for the Africa region. Most teams should be able to get access to their drop spots, whatever drop spot they might be, because once again, we do not know too much, but that is fine and a dandy overall. A few teams going to be taking now a focus towards the side of George Paul. I'm seeing a few teams like team in slot number 1 is going to be Inf, going to be going in that global direction. But the first circle pop is going to be actually the northern side, so really nothing too hard, and it's great to see that no teams actually went into the North Carolina military base. So I'm expecting in the VOD reviews that might be coming in the future, if some teams decide to do so, they could see this as a great opportunity to avoid early game fights and just drop there.
Yeah, I mean, Novo is a fantastic position on the map. So much loot there. There was a team called B4 in Americas about a year ago. They love to drop in Novo, and they spent the majority of the time just chilling there, to be quite honest with you, before they head into the map. And they were geared to the teeth and just ruining people in those finals moments. I think they were getting like a chicken dinner every single day. So that's a very nice place that people can decide to pick up later on. But like you say, Max, that will be a little bit of odd review later on today. I imagine.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully that's what I'm expecting. I think that's something that still in PMCO's team tend to not do, like, hey, we're just going to game instead of doing VOD review. Please, if you have time to do so, don't do like me and not do your homework and go play some games. Do some VOD review. It will bring out so much out of your team overall. But now we're just going to be moving around. We had team number 15, which is going to be Fallen 5, as they're just going to be moving around hospital area and contesting it away with team number 20, which is going to be a fill on APX. So far, a few teams are going to go for some nice rotations. I do not know if we spawn in with 64, 63 players, but so far, no big early fights, no big point of contestments, and no hot drops, which goes to show to me that teams maybe have done indeed their research here, that no hot drops means, in my opinion, good learning and good preparation from a lot of these teams.
Yeah, you imagine there's a lot of scrims going through, a lot of these teams preparing themselves for any eventuality that comes through, because they want to put on a good show, right? That's what they want to do. You're coming into it, you have your own PMCO to yourselves, make it happen. Hospital drop, I'm okay with this one. I like this one. It gives you ample position within the map and good rotational paths afterwards. Loot's good here too.
I think overall the thing they're going to have to be very careful about is how they're going to rotate away from this position, because you have a few decent compounds, especially if you try and rotate up north into George Pole. You're going to have a few point of contestments, so hopefully they're going to be pretty wary and careful about that one all around. So still, George Pole offers some of the best rotations as long as you put a big emphasis and focus on your scouting. You move on forward, get a little hilltop. There's a lot of lows on the western side, northwestern side especially, of the map. Get the information, and from that intel, take a decision. You should be good to go. Moving around on other positions now, we're going to making our way next to, I believe that is going to be Rozhok on the map. Indeed, that's going to be on the eastern side of Rozhok. We're going to be putting a focus on team number 11, which is going to be Revolution Up. So that is also a good rotation. It's really central. And what I love to see there is because of how the circle popped on phase 1, they're right next to the river. If they have to go up north, super easy. If they have to remain down south, they're already there. That's like a really good spot to have in these early circles.
Yeah, Zeus as well earlier on had actually headed up to Rozhok and then moved across the riverside, which was really smart from them. So they only had, actually, it wasn't all of the team, but it was just one player. Head up towards Cube, gives some great scouting positions. We saw Na'Vi do that frequently during the MENA region. So this is really, really good from them.
Okay, so I'm not sure if we got the game currently maybe a little bit frozen on our end, but hopefully that will result and come back as it was usually meant to be. So sorry for the little technical issue on our end. Okay. Oh, we're going to come back to us. We're going to see our beautiful faces once again. Look at us, beautiful weebs, back in their 100% glory. We are back once more. But anyways, that game, off to a good start. Nothing really happened, so we shouldn't be missing out too much. Hopefully. But a good start. And yeah, once again, the circle, River's going to be a big point of focus. And I'm looking to see especially how teams might be trying to play around, especially Yasnai, Pollyanna. I think that's a point of interest we see many times on the top teams in PMGC play around. And I would like to see teams potentially put a big focus on that kind of like eastern area.
Yeah, I mean, with the circle heading up towards the northeast side, Yasnai is going to be really important there. You control a lot from that area. The wizard towers are really important, especially for denying control over the bridges. And I like to call it, it's like the pizza slice that comes down from the top of the mountain, which is very, very much impassable. It's quite open terrain. If you're driving across there in a vehicle, guys, you are most likely just going to get shot down and shred to bits.
Yeah, that's true. But with that said, I get information. Apparently, we'll have to go for a very short break. Sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen. But it's fine. We'll be back shortly for some more PUBG Mobile Esports African region action. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Okay. And we are back. That was the shortest break in human history, I believe, there, Blank. So we're just going to dive straight into the action, hopefully very soon once again. Sorry for the little technical issue, as now we're going to be focusing on Northern George Pole.
Back we go. All good. No worries. We're back in the game. Influence Rage on the screen. Looking to take some names. We'll see what happens here, to be honest with you. I think that this is a decent position to play from. I think your main issue on this map, and the main issue I've seen a lot of teams have, is not grouping up quick enough. And you can understand why teams like to play split in this area. It's because it's very easy to get creeped up on. and someone give you the backstab. So you want to loot up quickly and then get out just as quickly and start to just watch teams maybe try and funnel through here, see what information you can gather, and then go from there. And to be honest with you, from this first day, I would say that information gathering on the first game is going to be really important. We're not going to see a ton of fights straight away, I don't imagine. We're going to see teams trying to feel each other out. And most of the times where we see some kills come through, it'll most likely be some mistakes happening.
I think that's the case, but I'm seeing right now on team number 11, Revolution up. So they already decided to move up north of the riverside and trying to put a big focus on that one, which I thought that initially they were going to stay around the river just to make sure that in case the circle shifts up north or goes down south, they could just do decision making accordingly to what happens. But here they already fully committed on making it up north and hold on to that decent position, that decent building in the northern side, which I think is a pretty big gamble to take early on. But you know what? That is okay if they are used also to play in that overall position. That is fine in my books. So far now we're going to have ourselves team number 14, which is going to be Gamers Unite Nation. Africa are going to be taking a few shots in the open as they're making their rotation through the fields down south in the side of Gatka, which is also positioned you want to be very careful about, because if one team decides to drop there early and loot up and they hold a compound, roaming without information could cause sometimes your demise if you're not careful enough.
Yeah, they do pick up one kill there. So they'll have that on the board, and whoever they're tailing right now will be less likely to take a fight with them. So like you say there, Max, they have good control of that area now, and you want to hold on to it. This is pretty dangerous from Hamzy. I'd say he's quite a lot in the open right now. 777 also taking some shots out, low-key going down already.
Hamzy's going to be making his way forward with Savage also, but they're going to try and move out from that position entirely. You did say that a little bit of backstab action could be happening potentially in this location, so they just want to finish up with that looting stage and be good to go. But some fights are currently happening. Godsent Temper are now going to be leaving that site entirely. They were taking the fight earlier versus Blackjack Esports, but Blackjack Esports still going to be up as a four-man squad. They're going to be defending that position pretty strongly, but a few teams are now moving around their position. I do not think Blackjack want to remain here, as they might be taking a lot of attention in their direction, and indeed they are going to be moving on forward with the Darcia, put himself on the tippity top of the mountain, stay safe for the time being. But I was a little scared that they had for a second.
Yeah, it's a bit frightening. And I mean, the hillside there does give you a little bit of cover, and you're able to move around it quite effectively to deny sightlines. But we've got the map on our screen on the top right there. We're going to shift pretty hard up towards Savernia and shooting range. No one's quite taken the very northwestern tip of the coast there as of yet. So you're going to have this big influx of players coming from the southeast at the moment, across that bridge that we talked about earlier. And you mentioned it so importantly, Max, there is Yasnaya Polyana. That would be a really important position for people to get through.
Yeah, we saw a few teams actually going for that rotation, trying to wrap around on the northern coastline, and that's going to be an easy way for you to avoid all the teams in the lobby potentially. So I think that those teams that are doing that kind of shot calling are showing some really good promises early on in the tournament. But here, we're going to keep on going, see what's happening as team number 5. Once again, that is going to be Influence Range Africa, making their way slowly but surely, just inch by inch, move in, find himself a compound to move into, and they're going to call it home for the time being, before moving on to future endeavors. But they did get spotted away for a split second by Sparza 6, which are going to be taking some few suppressive shots just to make sure that, hey guys, we're here, don't mess with us too much, don't get close to our compound. But that shouldn't really result in too much at this stage of the gameplay.
No, not as of yet. It's more like warning shots, and I think a lot of people like to do this, especially in battle royales, is just to let people know that this is where you are. Sometimes it can give you a position away, but sometimes in a position like this where you've got a very strong compound, you can kind of be like, don't come over here. We will shoot you, we will kill you, and you can kind of hold on to this position and keep people at bay, keep people at distance, especially when you have such a good spot within the circle for the time being.
Just some good old zoning in the early stage. You love to see it overall.
Yeah.
Normal love to see. Hey, it's pretty normal stuff. I'm not gonna like, they're just doing law in one piece, just like a zone, just like a room. And if you get in there, you're gonna get messed up. So overall, I like that one. And there you go. That's my quote of One Piece references for today done. So I'm happy with that one overall. As I missed the episode of 2 days ago. I need to catch up on that one. As Cheddar is gonna find himself one frag onto Iris. That's gonna be already a good kickoff for Blackjack Esports, as they're looking to get involved in some fights pretty early on, and they do indeed find an extra kill.
Yeah, fills in more holes there. He's happy with that one. Machine Let's get spotted out here by Sky, though. We'll just wait slightly again. This is just that information gathering we were talking about a little while back. Just want to make sure that they can see the enemy teams, go from there. This is really nice. I love that position on the stairs. You can have two people seeing the same position at the same time without them being too close together. If they ever got in a firefight, the enemy player would have to flick from down to up, which is a lot less easy than flicking from side to side there.
Just see blank. Did you see his name? Madara. There you go. That's another one. We're gonna count every single anime references we're gonna be seeing into this. And one, of course, a lot of people are gonna be influenced by that.
Madara.
I think I got like a French influence on that. Madara.
Oh, I call him Madara. I always called him Madara.
Yeah. I said the French way. I used to. It looks weird. You know what? The French language is a weird one from time to time, but that's okay. Overall, now we're gonna be. Yeah,
gonna have to hit you with some genjutsu. Just completely mind control you to say it the right way from now on.
Okay, I'll try. Madara. There you go. Is that better?
Madara. There we go. He's got it.
I got it passing. Hell yeah, let's get it. Oh my god. But Philly on APX also finds himself a good compound. I think that most of the teams currently already made it over the riverside, except for one, 777. They have yet to cross over the side of Rossok. But luckily enough for them, no one is really holding on heavily to the bridges and trying to gatekeep. So they normally should be able to easily make it up north, but the circle, talking about going up north, is going straight up there, right onto Severny. And seems like God Sent Temper. They're close by. They can easily take Severny under their control, but that will take a lot of attention your way also.
Yeah, this is a pretty horrific circle for a lot of these teams to play. The fact that he's gone into the water is really cruel, to be quite honest with you. Not happy about this one. Most teams will have to make their way in. And obviously moving through shooting range is difficult because it's a dip there. The fence might give you a little bit of cover, but it's not really enough. And you go even further north, you're on the beach. There's like a few little spots you can hide there, but this place is going to be dominated by some really strong compounds. You can already see Abel from his team here, from Alpha Pack. They're just waiting on the northeast side, and I don't blame them. This compound is going to give them a little bit of cover. There's really no point for them to move into the circle right now. They're going to have to wait for other teams to aggress onto Godsent before they can even make this pass on the train. Look how open it is.
Yeah, I mean, you easily can't even smoke it out because it's such a wide area. The smokes will literally just maybe help you out a little bit, but it will not be all that significant. And also crashing into a gas station with the walls around it, you can shoot and nade underneath, makes it super hard to remain in a really strong position. And also you got hilltops around there, 777 are up there. They can take shots also. So I definitely recommend for them to not go for the crash just yet. And I think that what you said, I 100% agree with here, to wait for other teams to try and get involved. 777. So you're going to be cruising on by, a few shots coming on through from 6God. But nothing shall connect for the time being. As now all the teams are slowly concentrating. We said we had a passive early game. We all know that that's about to end pretty abruptly here. As here we go, the push from the compound is going to be happening for Alpha Pack. It's going to be on the coastal line. The shots, nice scouting, but unfortunately no bullets will connect for the time being.
Wise is going for an absolutely wild play here. And I mean, yes, he has a slight ridge side that gives him cover, but this is a mad dash from Alpha Pack. If they can find a compound on this one, I will be extremely surprised. And Wise has actually rolled up on an unoccupied building. This was an incredible push.
That's actually super worth it. Also, you got to keep in mind that when the circle shifts around Severny, there are not many buildings to take. It's mostly just little hilltops and also some coastal line areas to play around. So if you can find one compound and hold on to it, that is such a strong position to get in these kind of spots. So I think that overall, the fact that they were able to find one that was not occupied was huge coming out for them. But now will be, can they hold on to it? Because you know that there's a big chance of that position getting contested later on. So if they're strong on holding on to it and also have good scouting, they might be off to a really good start.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the big thing, though, is that Alpha Pack had a lot of patience in mind there. They waited a long time for the other teams to find their way into the circle, and then it's less likely that Godsent's going to send off too many shots their way, because they have to look behind them. They're playing downhill at the moment. So I really like the play. Alpha Pack sends Wazza out front. He's more of a distraction target, and then send the rest out behind. So really well done. They're further in the circle now, and now they can start to gatekeep Godsent Temper. We will see over here Pain AF just waiting, biding their time. They're right on the edge of the circle, but you can see things start to get a little bit shady. As we get the next circle, head onto the screen. Bam. This is even more rough terrain to play around. Look at all the hillsides. It's going to be interesting. I do quite like the position of Gun, though. They can start to play over the top of the ridge, but they will have to get rid of the teams that are currently in front of them.
I'm very scared for these teams. Like, this first game is off to a very scary start, and I thought we were going to have a chill game seeing how that playing path was happening, but no. 50% of this circle, basically, is going to be the compound of Severny, and that means that if the circle goes to the west, mayhem is going to be breaking loose for teams trying to make it away from Severny, and you know that you're going to lose potentially half of the lobby in that fight alone. And a lot of teams coming in now late from the eastern side are going to slowly concentrate themselves in that position. But once again, if the circle moves out, this is not going to look good, and not many teams will make it out to see the end of the game.
No, and I mean, you can see here, teams are on top of teams. There is not a lot of real estate to be taken here. And these little buildings outside of Severny are going to be all that holds these teams together. Nico looking to throw some grenades, try and get rid of some of the intruders that are at hand. You can say Pain AF in the distance trying to make their way in, but they are late to the party.
Yeah, Blackjack versus 777 are going to be up there, but indeed in the background, that's going to be Pain. They're looking to indeed deal up some pain in this compound of Severny and hopefully find a few frags along the way, but they are pretty far away, and also because it's such a big open ground, smokes will not make it easy, so you just got to rush that one with a car if you want to have a chance of making it up there, or, I've seen a lot of water still in the circle, if you want to play it like elongated game and just aim for points. You know, that would be also a viable option. We saw teams do it in the PMGC League stage, so why not do it now if you really want to avoid that fight with Severny, which I completely understand, by the way.
You see just people just like ramming their way into the walls. It's like flies splatting against the windscreen at the moment, just trying to survive as long as possible. But this ride is fast as hell. We'll see what happens going forward, but right now, Pain AF are in a struggle spot. I think you are right, Max. Maybe it is time to just take the plunge into the water, begin to swim a little bit. I don't think anyone's going to be looking out that way too far at the moment. They're way too preoccupied about the teams around them. You can see there, Doofy on his own inside the building with Team Blackjack Esports. So 777 counting their lucky sevens there to keep Doofy alive, and Typical here just holding onto a grenade, waiting for that push, which Doofy will be undoubtedly calling.
I mean, here, the main position, Blackjack, they do not want to go for the fight with Doofy right now. The reason why, if they get a member knocked or not, they're going to be so focused on Doofy that the entire team of 777 could just barge on through and potentially pick up the frags. So, like, you know what? No one's really annoying us just yet. The circle has yet to really move away from our position. So we're just going to keep on the standstill position. We're not going to take the fight, and we should be good. And we're talking about taking a fight, though. We're going to be moving on over to see Esports, as they're now going to try their best to defend this position, as Gun is now going to be losing Nerf Me. They are holding on to this one. There's already 2 frags to show for it. And Blank, the circle's about to pop once again.
I think that's Gun now out of the entire game. Then he was the last player there. Very sad. Circle shifts up towards the top of the map here.
Yeah.
So again, everyone gonna have to leave Severny. It's gonna get very exciting over the next minute and a half here, Max. We'll see all the action start to go down as everyone gets the eviction notice at the same time.
I mean, we've already got one player in the water. You can't barely see him right now because it's the same color, but he's just going to be chilling in there and having a little fun time over there to potentially try and aim for the late game stage and make it in a position we can maybe steal away a top 2 position. That'll be grand indeed. But now the circle moves away. I think that the fight is going to be breaking out very soon. The circle's closing up in the next 10 seconds. So things are going to get a little bit more slice-o-dice, I would say, coming into this lobby. As F5 now, Fallen 5, going to slowly also have to move away from their position, as I'm seeing a purple team over here. Not sure which one that actually is, but they're just going to be cruising on by inside the circle already. It's going to be Team 5, Influence Rage Africa, and they're going straight for the coastline, trying to crash their way also in the few trees to hold on to a decent spot, but they are getting mowed down, and indeed, they're losing already another one of their players. They're on the brink of extinction.
They are on the brink of extinction. They're trying to live as soon as possible, but the fossils, you know, I think they're already starting to form, but NAF, take a shot from the side here, Max.
Yeah. El Chapo, though, still going to be up and alive for the side of Pain. Team 16 still holding on strong, hopefully, but unfortunately, one bullet, and that shall be the end. And you can't get up in these kind of situations because you have teams literally all around you. But he's going to give it a fair shot with no more meds remaining, no more helmets, one headshot, and that's going to be game over for him. Even a body shot will be enough, but now on the side of the map, on the coastline, 2 players still up and standing for filling on APX as they're down to 2. Gonna have to go for the reses once again. It is a big commitment, but if you're able to hold on to the coastline and let all the teams batter themselves into the southern side, you might just be in a good position, but unfortunately for them, this is so hard to hold on to.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Now teams have got sight on them. I think it all went downhill for these players towards the water as soon as we moved away from Severny, because teams basically have all eyes on that position. They're like, okay, we're going to have to get rid of teams there because they're going to cause us problem in the future. We'll see what happens going forward. But right now, you're going to have a racer crew in a really good spot. You can see the little ridgeline they're holding. Smokes are currently down. They would love to get rid of Affiliate and APX off in the distance, and that would make things a lot easier for them. But I love this position right now. People aren't going to be crossing the road towards them, Max, so they're safe for the time being.
Yeah, they got such a good position, especially in third-person mode. You can just peek on over without really getting involved in the gunshots, and you should be able to get a few denied positions coming out from a lot of these teams. I think that overall, the teams that took the point of commitment to make it up north are in a super strong position, and now it's just going to be, can they pull off the fights? Can they execute on that? We'll have to see. If they can do so, I think that they can be aiming for already a top 3, and this, oh my god, we've got a 50-50 split with the water and the mainland on top of the roads. All the teams that are currently on the south got to cross on over to go into a river, like onto the coastline. I'm sorry, but this circle sucks. Oh my god.
It really does suck. And I think a lot of these teams wish they could suck the water out of the sea right now to create a little bit more land on that side so they could play. But yeah, things are getting pretty bad. A racer crew wish they had taken out Ophelia and APX a little bit sooner, because now they are absolutely laughing. You can see Blesson over there actually setting up the vehicle. This is really smart, nice and early. Ophelia and X doing some incredible stuff here.
Yeah, Coco just got roasted out by PewDiePie in his diss track, so he's going to be out of the equation entirely. Now down to 11 teams already and 29 players alive. Not a lot of full squads now going to be remaining, which is going to be making matters really hard for these teams to hold on to decent positions. Now teams, they got just a few seconds. The circle's now already pushing these teams forward closer and closer, inch by inch, getting closer to each other. And that's where the fights are at the end going to be breaking on through. Already 6 fragged, though, I got to say, for Team 12, which is going to be Spazza 6. They are popping off on this compound. They're not many, but if you're able to hold on to it, I mentioned it earlier, you're going to be fragging out, getting so many kills, and they were able to turn that compound into a killing spree.
Yeah, I mean, they've taken their advantages they found, right? Which is, we have a really good compound. We're probably going to be out of the circle. We've got to make what we can do with it. See there, Fallen 5 on the side. Managed to wipe out a team there. I think that was Zeus. And now they're going to try and make their way there into the circle. But look how many teams are ahead of them.
It's only Savage alone. Oh, hey, good for dip, baby. Let's go. Oh, he's not the only one. One player of 777 did the exact same thing. And he's going to be taking a chill time in the water currently and just remaining over there. But I'm surprised. The Affiliate and APX are still alive and able to hold on to it when teams have literally a side angle on them, and they're yet able to hold on to it purely because of the smokes. But now moving on over to team number 18, that's going to be CE Sports. They still got one player. It's going to be Snowy X. We still got a few players up and remaining with the smokes. Might be able to get a sneaky res, but because of so many teams still being behind him, that is going to be extremely hard for him to execute, especially because of Godsent. They're inching every single time closer and closer away from the blue zone to potentially pick up that last frag.
This is really good here from Spazza 6, so they're remaining, holding on here. And I mean, it's not really nursery rhymes that Coco's throwing out at the moment. He's sending some straight diss tracks straight back at these teams at the moment in the sound of gunfire. You mentioned Ophelia and APX though, Max. I think the reason they're able to stay up, you can see it off in the distance there, they had some vehicles. They're using them really well, but they do take a quick knob. There's El Chapo though, doing some big stuff. Remember, this guy was on Snake Squad in the MENA League, and he was doing some fantastic stuff there for his team solo.
Yeah, El Chapo is really an insane player that I did not even know he was in here until I saw the player list, so I'm happy to see this guy fragging out with some insanely good grenades. But he's going to be, unfortunately, in a really bad spot, and I believe that's actually already the end of his life, if I'm not mistaken. He did go out earlier, but now we're down to 6 teams, almost down into the top 5, and this game is getting so interesting. And the circle, once again, inches towards Affiliate and APX. They went for super risky play early on, but now the circle's just coming their way every single time. If they just hold on to that position and make sure the grenades don't hurt them, they could be in a good spot, but they keep getting knocked every single time, and they're struggling to hold on to that spot because there's just so many angles that they just can't cover with their smokes. And I believe, actually, they're out of smokes. They have nothing left.
No, they're really in the struggle bus right now, quite literally. And I mean, they're getting shot from all over the place. They have such a strong position. They have to hold it down right now. Blessing, the only one left alive for that team. I wonder if that's the rest of them down now. I believe it's just one player left up for them. What they're hoping is the rest of these teams start to take fire at one another. But all of them realize that, you know what, Affiliate APX, they've got an insane spot with the vehicles that they've actually been able to line up.
Also, Blackjack still got Cheddar. Zane did that, knocked away, trying to look for the off angle, but was not able to secure it just yet. And he might be able to get himself his ally. Do a cheesy play. That will be Cheddar, of course. Now down to top 4 teams. I gotta say, man, this team number 12, Spazza 6, are absolutely popping off. They had a compound, and now that so many teams died out in this lobby, they're feeling like we can afford to push on forward. And they're still up as a 4-man team. It's a 4v4, and they have half of the lobby on their side, on their team. It's a 4v2, v1v1. Flacco of Godsent still on the side, trying to wait for the Blue Zone to potentially take him down soon to deny an extra point, but he's going to try his best to clash it down. Finds Coco and flushes out the kill. That's great for Godsent as he is still up and alive, but now he's down to 2 teams only. Is going to be the side of Plaza going up against none other than Aphelion APX to close off this game. It's going to be down to a 3v2.
This is some really good stuff, but Aphelion APX, they are down in the ditches. They're almost done here. I mean, cold in the name, cold in the game here. I don't think there's any heat left to them, whereas Spazza 6, they're absolutely on fire this match.
They are looking great. So Spazza, they are pinned in a position where if there's still some grenades remaining for Aphelion APX, they will be in a really good spot. But I like what currently Aphelion are trying to do. They're trying to avert expectations by moving away from their main position, centering up towards the side of the circle to make it a little bit harder for them to get taken down. Though, they're going to be losing Cold. Cold's going to get knocked away. Now a 3v1. This is time to go on the beach, and it's time to take down the final player of Aphelion APX. It's time to rush, baby. Let's go. Berserk is going to be looking for the shots with the M4. Not able to connect it just yet. Shade's going to be knocked away. He finds a double. Maybe the steal's coming on through, but no. It will be taken up by the side of Plaza, taking himself game number 1 for the African region.
Spazza 6 with a fantastic finish there and the win. Look at that, though. 4 kills, 3 kills, 3 kills, 3 kills. That is a team where everyone has put the work in. Really fantastic stuff from them. And they held down that tree line really well, had some good vehicles. And let's be honest, Max, they were right in the thick of it.
Yeah. I mean, they were playing that game so well because they understood from the early stage, okay, this circle, we said it earlier, it sucks. It's not fun to play in. There's only also Saverni as a compound. Who wants to go in Saverni? Really, no one wants to do so. They found one compound, and from that compound, they got, 6, 7 kills alone because it was such a good position, and they were denying everyone to get close and just zoning them out. I think that overall, they understood how to play that circle. They put himself in a good position and played it correctly, and then they finished that game off really good. It was almost a steal from Aphelion, taking a 1v3. That would have been insane to kick off the event, but not going to be close enough. But still good stuff coming out from Spazza 6, take himself game number 1. With so many frags too, they're really good to go. And don't forget, you need to be in the top 50% to make into the finals of the African PMCO for the season. And from what I've seen there, from how they were playing, I'm expecting them to be in that top 50%, like 100%. Like, they got to make it up there. That was just so damn clean.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just take a quick stock of the points. That 26 points going their way just from that map alone, which is a huge chunk of points, by the way. But you mentioned Aphelion APX. Let's be frank, Max. I think that everyone that wanted to kill them tried to kill them. And I think everyone wanted to kill them was pretty much everyone in that lobby. They were all looking their way the entire time. Yes, Aphelion APX set up a couple of vehicles trying to hold on the way, but, there was bullets zipping underneath the hull of the vehicles. Wheels were being shot out left, right, and center. And it was just hell upon earth for that poor team. They did really well to get a second place. I didn't see him getting the first, but from what they did, they were to salvage some good points out of that one.
It was a big gamble too to go up there. Like, you really got to hope the circle to come your way every single time. The moment it doesn't, unfortunately, the chance of you being able to take that dub is going to be very, very slim. But you know what? They take second position on the first game with so many frags. That's still a really good showing from Aphelion APX. But with that said, we're now going to be done with our first game of the day. What a great game it was indeed. But myself and Blank will see you guys in just a bit for our second game of the day. And we are finally back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for waiting during this a little bit of a longer break. We're trying to fix everything on our end on the production side to make sure the show is as smooth as possible. But once again, into our second game, I'm going to be joined with Blank to dive into our second match, which is going to be played on the good old fancy Sanhok. Is going to be super aggressive. It's going to be hella fun. But we had a weird circle in game one, hoping for this one to be, I would say, a little bit more normal, I think would be the word, because that was a wild first game here, Blank.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. I'm not going to lie. Heading all to Severny, then basically finishing in the water was pretty crazy. Wasn't a big fan. I'm sure the players weren't a huge fan either. Things were going fairly terribly for Ophelia and APX, but still somehow they managed to grab that second place and Spazza 6 with the chicken dinner in the end. Great stuff from them. I'm really, really happy they were able to clutch that one out. I thought that was a game where, you know, all you do is in that situation is you try your best to get away with like a little bit of kills, try and get a fourth or fifth place, but Spazza 6 said absolutely not. We're going to take the chicken dinner instead. We're just going to take a really central positions, use smokes for advantage, have some great spots with our vehicles, and then just shoot everyone else. And it worked out. So happy for them.
I mean, that's one of the games where you just should understand that, like, we cannot always take a win in these kind of situations. You've got to try and aim for a few extra kills, a few extra positioning points if possible. I mean, El Chapo, that guy's like, I know 100% I'm not going to make it out of life on this position because I'm in like one of the worst spots on the edge of the circle. I've got to cross the open fields, cross over the side of the road also. And there were so many teams in front of him. He understood that I cannot make it out, but while I'm still alive, I'm going to frag out, which is exactly what he did. Picked up like grenades, left, right, center, picked up a few. I think he picked up like 3-4 frags in that fight alone. So overall, I got to say El Chapo understood, and I want to see that a lot from other teams, especially when circles like this are pretty hard to deal with. But with that said, we are finally going to be jumping in game numero dos of the day, and it's going to be on the jungle map known as Sanhok. So hopefully we're going to have some good action over here because game one was pretty passive in the early stage, but you know, Sanhok, it is a 4x4 map, a lot smaller, so some early skirmishes could potentially happen here, Blank.
Yes, hopefully. I'd love to see it. Here we are on Sanhok. Things get a little bit more close, a little bit more heated as teams come into contact with each other very, very early on. But we do have another southwest here to northeast plane path, so everyone's very happy and get to exactly where you need to go. But this is one of those maps where things can change very quickly in terms of the circle. We could have one head up towards the northwest side, end up on top of the mountain, or alternatively, go down to cave and have a very interesting finish, Max. So all in all, Sanhok is an exciting map. So keep your eyes peeled, boys.
I mean, cave finishes. I think that cave finishes are a little bit overhyped because they tend to end up in a heal off a lot of the time. So hopefully not going to be the case.
No, Max.
But
it'll be a cage match in there.
But I'm going to be seeing also, of course, the phase 1 circle. Pretty normal, not in the water, so I'm happy about that one all around. But they won't fight it in boot camp. From what I see, at least, unless they're like really on top of each other and not seeing really well, which I do have a 7 out of 10 vision. But we're going to go now over to another fight that's happening so far next to the river. It's going to be, once again, the all boys of team number 6, Blackjack Esports, taking a 2v1 versus the side of Brad of Era. Going to be taking this one. Gets some nice shots, able to get one of the player pretty low on the opposing side of Blackjack, and he's going to move around with a QBZ, doing some really good work so far. He's actually buying some time for his team to get close by because they're not that far away. If they can find a car, this would be great. But Cheddar waiting on his opportunity. Going to go for the jump shot, picks up one, but cannot trade that one out. And Cheddar will get rezzed up by the side of MG. One frag already coming away of Blackjack Esports.
Yep, and that's what Blackjack Esports get for moving as a duo unit. Eraser crew just were not there with their friendly teammate to actually be able to pick him up or get a refrag whatsoever, even though Brad started that one out with a fantastic little couple of headshots through to one of the enemies. And I mean, that could have gone very differently if he'd got one kill there initially, especially because he was 100% HP. He could have taken the 2v1. It would have been excellent to see, but all being said, Eraser crew down to 3 players.
And we saw also in the first game, Blackjack Esports, their team that they took some early game fights currently next to the side of Hospital, I believe it was. So their team that, if they can go for some engages, they're going to do so. And being spread in Sandhawk, I would not recommend it if you can avoid it. That is something that I would personally like to see coming into the future games. But now moving on over to another area of the map in the good old hills of Sandhawk, we're going to have ourselves team number 13. It's going to be Limitless Esports. They're going to be roaming around. They got himself a pretty strong compound also with some good looting stage. You don't really have to move, but we got to keep in mind also that they spawned in as a 3-man team, which in Sandhawk, that is heavily going to impact your potential results.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to have a 4-man squad here. You're running around as 3. It is even less eyes on the map, and you need to have eyes in the back of your head, to be honest, on Sandhawk to live through this one. You're already missing 4 pairs there on the cars, so not good for them to start it out with. But we'll see how far they can actually make it through. Aphelion APX here is your 2nd place team from Erangel. Started out well. They had some good salvaging potential towards the end of that game. Let's see what they can do here. Pull out the truck and see what kind of things they can run away with.
I mean, Cold got the information onto the side of the other team. So he just got the information that no team is currently over there. And he also gave the intel that they're all packed up in that one building on the side. It's like, you know what? The other side of the compound, the other 50% is free. Move into there so you can contest. Maybe get a few grenades in. That will be great, even though they are pretty far away. But they still got so many more buildings that now they pinned down this squad of Limitless Esports. They cannot move anywhere without taking a fight or just get into a car, which unfortunately I do not believe they have one. And also, I would not recommend you guys to use a car. And taking the 3v4, I do not think that Aphelion APX knows the 3v4, but if they knew, I'm pretty sure they would have already decided to engage this and take potentially what is a very, very easy fight, while Cold is still gathering and feeding that information to the rest of his team. Seemed like the comms are really strong for Aphelion APX.
Yeah, Cold needs to get a clean kill, which is why he's waiting here. If he only hits him a little bit, his actual element of surprise is completely taken. And even in some extreme cases, Limitless can just turn around and just rush Cold in that situation. So it would be a little bit dangerous. So he, like you said, has just been kind of a bit of comms unit. He's got the radio on. He's radioing in the information where he can. And the rest of the boys from Aphelion APX are just waiting, biding their time. There's no way Limitless Esports get away with this one without a casualty unless they have some absolute skilled shooting come their way.
What really intrigues me is the fact that we're on phase 1 circle. We saw it earlier as a really great circle, really central, a little bit over to the eastern edge. They didn't have to go out of their way to try and go for kills, but they're going to do so. Rusty Boy going to be on the front line with also the Vector, picks up one, going to switch up his nether weapon and try and find himself a double frag. Not going to happen, but Cold is there to back up the rest of his team, and they're going to get 2 easy frags confirmed coming their way. That's 2 points in the books. They're good to go. Where's the other player? Where's the other remaining player from the side of Limitless? He just left that position entirely, and now he's going to try his best to re-get involved, and Rusty could get rezzed up on his own. He's still taking a 1v3 currently, pushing his way forward with the Vector. The Cold is going to pick up that kill as easy as it looked like to be, and he's going to be up to now 3 kills with his team.
Yeah, I mean, damn. That was cold, the way he got rid of those 3 players fairly easily. I mean, I don't agree with Rusty Boy's push, though. I feel like Cold was rushing down the hill to try and back up that play, and I think Rusty Boy pulled the trigger a little bit too slowly. Luckily, Cold is an absolute god, unable to clean up the rest of that fight. But here we are with Influence Rage on a very typical place on the map, and Skydo will immediately fall. Revolution Esports still not giving up their position.
I am grass now. You may not see me. I'm invisible. Of course, Influence Rage are going to try their best to spot out. Because of those few shots, they have a somewhat good idea of where they might be localized. But 2 of their players are currently down, and now they're going to be struggling pretty heavily. Influence Rage Africa
That's
still
messy.
down. Yeah, this is a very messy fight, but still, you got to say it on the other side. Those in Revelation still up as a 4-man squad in a really good spot. Already picked up 1 frag, by the way. And also, Madara, I hope I said that one properly, otherwise Blanca's going to cause a lot of issues for me later on. But did I say, we good? We good?
Yeah, you're good.
Hell yeah, let's go. Okay, we're good on that one. I said it correctly. But now they're just going to take control of this position. And the moment you realize the Revelation Up's got control of this mountaintop position, Influence Rage should just be like, nope, I'm out of here. We already lost 2 players. They got fragged out. They got confirmed. This is not worth taking. Oh no, that's going to get the pod again down below by 777. Oh no, this is so much of an issue.
This is very, very sad. All in all, Max. Yeah, they were kind of cornered and pushed into an awkward position. And now even 777's taking damage. Good play from Revolution Up. You said that they were the grass. Influence Rage tried to be the lawnmower. Unfortunately, this grass was hard as nails and got stuck within the blades. So sad stuff on the hillside for them. And now Revolution Up have a really strong position. Just purely in the case, Max, that this is a great spot to have eyes on the rest of the map going forward, be able to gather some information.
And also because of the shots that came out from down below, they're just like, well, we know a team's currently down there, so we can try and move away from the opposite side and avoid the fight entirely. So I think that now the amount of information coming their way is going to be rather strong. Now we're going to be panning on over to Spazza 6. If you guys did miss the first game, they took the very first W of this event for the African region. And they showed some really good promises in terms of their macro. They're really, really good fighting playstyle was actually really well rewarded in that game, and they were able to take themselves a win. It was a close one, but still the dub came their way, was a juicy amount of points. So they're off to a great start. They might get contested very soon by Pain. So this is another team that I think showed some really good promises in that first game. They had some really clean and aggressive rotations, but that circle in the first game was very harsh on them. So this one was a more normal circle, I would say, might be able to help them out a decent bit.
Yeah, I think that the last circle kind of rewarded teams that were very mechanically skilled and able to hold their own within like an extended gunfight, which Spazza 6 were absolutely able to do. And I think that just looking the way they're playing there right there is very important for us to get a bead on how good this team is. And they're playing with 1 player forward, a backstop behind them, watching that player's back. It's all very calculated. I really like it. I like it a lot, Max.
Oh, I like those shots too with the QBU. The Beast going to be coming in as a bestial play. We'll be able to knock up one of the other players. But now the thing is, if you want to confirm that frag, you got to go downhill. And I'm pretty sure that they are not going to go for that play. They want to try and go for some extra shots from a distance. That'll be the best course of doing so. But Pain, they got themselves so far a 2-2 split. Good information coming up their way. But as I said, it's downhill. I would not recommend, even though sure you got a great knockup, it's just not worth going downhill for that kind of frag just to confirm 1 kill alone. So they're staying up there, which I think is potentially the best play. But I'm seeing Coco, like this guy's feeling himself. He's just slowly making his way uphill and might want to try and contest their position.
I mean, go for it. I mean, if you can continue to apply pressure onto Pain AF and make sure that they don't continue the pursuit down the hill, it's going to buy them a little bit of time. We've got El Chapo here. He was popping some heads last game, doing fairly good for himself. But this is the thing. They've got to be aware that they've taken shots. They don't have eyes on behind them. Teams will be very likely to third party in these types of games. But we do have the map up on the side of the screen there. Just head off to the eastern side. Lakawi quite free. And it will be other teams trying to make their way in. Zeus down towards Docks, still yet to make their way in. Very, very safe, though. But it's these teams coming from the western side maps, Max, which I think that are in the most danger.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of potential fights happening on that side, so you've got to keep that in mind. But I love where Gotzen is. They're just avoiding the fight entirely and getting himself in a really strong spot. But now, over to, once again, this fight happening with Spazza 6. One of their players going to be knocked away and instantly confirmed Coco is out of the equation already. And during that time, though, behind them, Pain, they've got to keep in mind that Gun is just around the corner, ready to try and strike them down while the iron is yet hot in this engagement. Hanad initiates with the grenade. but that's going to push them away. At least Gun got the information right. If it's not worth taking, just don't go for it. And they're just like, we don't want to get involved. This is not worth it. It's still the early game. It's phase 1 circle, going into phase 2. Why take a risk?
Exactly. I mean, for Gun, like this could go equally badly for them if they take this fight. They realize as much as anyone being the third party is that there could be another team just over the top of the hill there. Now, for Pain AF, they are in a little bit of a struggle spot because a lot of teams know where their current position is. What they were able to do is take down Coco from Spazza 6, which gives them a little bit of breathing room behind them. Like we said before, being a 3-man team is not ideal, and it will set Spazza 6 back in the sense that they'll have to go over towards a more passive playstyle, which will mean that they're going to be off in the distance, and PMF can kind of leave them alone for the time being and try and get a better bead on what's going on currently around in their area.
I mean, Bladshak, they're currently also in a really strong spot currently. A nice compound. They're still up as a 4-man team. They got 1 kill picked up also earlier for them, so they're in a pretty good position. But now El Chapo from a distance. 1 sneaky grenade, just thread the needle, could be a good way to initiate and also pick up that compound, because you mentioned it earlier, Blank, you got so many teams slowly trying to feed themselves into the western side of the circle that if they can liberate this entire zone and hold on to it themselves, this will be super, super valuable, as on our end, seem like the gameplay is not moving anymore, so they were just gonna have to try and see exactly what's happening in this game overall. But also we had a few teams. You mentioned Lakawi. There was a really good open position on the eastern coastal line. I would love to see some teams potentially put a big focus on that and try and place the coastal line, but it's still, once again, a very big gamble. It worked out into the first game of Philion and take themselves away a second position, but that doesn't happen very often, I have to say it. So if you want to go more the usual pass, I would say, of your competitive experience in PUBG Mobile, go into Lakawi, then slowly make your way towards the mountaintop on the west of Lakawi, and that would be just a great spot to hold on to because there are not many teams over there.
No, there usually aren't, and I think that the difficulty comes there, Max, in the sense that you don't really want to be playing off the backside of the blue, right? I mean, it does give you a lot of safety, but it means that you're forced in an awkward position where, like a rat into a cage that's just filled with cheese, there's a very direct route that you're going to take to it. And a lot of teams can kind of take advantage of that and see where you're coming from. Currently, I can't really tell what's going on the screen. El Chapo is currently just laying down here for me. So we'll wait and see what's going forward. But right now, if you look towards the top right, we do a little bit of analysis here. Look at the way that Pain AF is set up, Max. They're all looking separate directions. This is exactly what I want to see from a team that's out in the open. They are keeping eyes out absolutely everywhere, 360 degrees, nice and covered.
Oh, now we're going to actually have a point of view on the minimap, so that makes me happy chappy all around. So we do have then, I saw one team was over there, I wasn't sure who, but it is actually a Philion APX onto the eastern side in Lakawi, but now because of the circle, the coastline play is not going to work out this time, so they've got to make it over. They've got a few crates too along the way if they want to loot up, maybe get himself a good old few weapons left, right, and center. But in the south, we also got ourselves the side of team number F5, which is going to be wait a second, I got to find it once again. Fallen 5, nah, I bowed on that. I'm getting used to it, guys. We'll get there eventually. But Fallen 5 going to be in that position that they're going to have to go uphill to and potentially through the side of Quarry, which I got to mention that, Blank, but I think we all know by now that Quarry is a really bad position if you have to cross through Quarry itself on the outskirts, because it is such a hard position to play around, especially when you have teams gatekeeping around there, like potentially the side of Revo, also Gun up north that would be in a really strong spot. So I would say if they could do so, southeast would be the best way just to avoid Quarry all around, because that is not looking great. And over onto the west, you have 3 teams that are currently getting, and actually even more, 4 teams that are going to have to make their way through the side of Pain. Revo, they're going to get gate kept super hard, and they're going to have a really bad time making it inside a good spot.
We talk about Revolution up here, Max?
Yeah, Revolution. Yeah. I just did the team tag. Yeah. Oh, no, Revolution are in the circle. They're gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping right now.
Yeah, I think that CE Sports 777 as well as NEX here on the western side, like you highlighted, very, very critically here, Max, they're going to struggle because they're going to have to go past one another, and it gets to be quite open towards that western side of the map. So we imagine a couple are going to die pretty quickly. We saw Spazza 6 earlier go down to 3 players, so they would rather take the stealthy approach here, Max, stay undetected like a snake in the grass, but they're going to have 4 teams trampling over them very shortly.
They are going to be struggling a pretty decent amount. But up north, also guys have the side of Era, they're going to be also in a pretty good position for Racer Crew. May can their way around from Paradise Resort, hopefully finding himself a really good rotation. This is a position in which the side of Class Digital Athletics back in the PMGC and also a little bit in the EMEA League, they would do it from time to time, drop in Paradise Resort. And the reason why it's such a good spot is it offers really good early rotation potential. But they delay that rotation so heavily that now I'm a little bit like, well, if you keep on delaying that rotation, Godsend is going to be in a really bad spot to deny that away. So I'm intrigued to see how they decide to play that one, because I think they delayed that rotation maybe a little bit too much, as you can see on the minimap.
Yeah, I think that it's really nice early on, like you mentioned, Max, just because it's so elevated as well, right? You're able to see everywhere in front of you, decide where you want to go next, and especially if you're heading down towards the south, because there's this rock line that's kind of like a rocky crag, right? You can see outwards towards that and look towards where you're going to be heading towards next. Class Digital Athletics used it fantastically to kind of leapfrog to a better position within the map, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. But I'd like to see them make some movements soon.
Hopefully they're going to be trying to do so and apply those tricks and tips to their own game plan and get a little bit quicker, because the North is slowly but surely going to get heavily focused on, and they are going to struggle quite a bit because of that. But also, I want to see the rotations coming on really quickly from Aphelion APX. The odds of that happening for them last game to get a second position were pretty slim, but there's still so much room, like 50% of the map, as we can currently see, even though I believe we are casting a feed this a little bit in the past now. They can easily take some really strong compounds, go for some high ground positions, and they should be good to go. I think that Aphelion APX in this current localization have the better in terms of potential in this entire game.
Yeah, I think we've analyzed this whole Max. Whole map is done. I don't think there's much more we could analyze. Look, we're good to go. I mean, nothing else is happening on my screen, at least.
I think nothing is happening even too.
Where is everybody? Help!
Everybody disappeared. No, Wingardium Leviosa. They went flying.
We just levitate them out of here. Get out! Get them out! To be fair, we are studious students, just like Hermione Granger. So perhaps we can look a little bit more deeply into this one. From this position, Max, who would you say has the best chance at winning? I know we're currently in like some weird frozen time space, but
it's Tenant.
Let's do what we can. We're in Tenant. We're just waiting. We're going back. Oh my god! A new screen.
Pixels are moving. Oh my. But I do believe that, as I said, Aphelion APX, I think, were the team with the best potential, and they were going to be moving on through, as we are going to our beautiful faces, I believe. Hey.
Hello.
We are behind the phone. It is us. Welcome to the Weeb section. We are on the Weeb section of the show now, and we're going to talk about anime. No, we'll keep that for the after show. That's okay.
Cool. Devilman Crybaby, like me, just crying away. Frozen stream, very sad. One Piece. We want this stream dead, or well, actually, we want this stream alive. We want it captured alive, guys. All right, we're gonna put out. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get like 600 UC if you can find the stream for us.
We'll keep it alive. We'll just make his heart beating again, hopefully, and I'll get him back to life very soon. But
quick CPR.
But of course, guys, our apologies for all the issues currently happening on the stream. Hopefully, it's going to get fixed up very soon. I know the production in the back end are trying their very best to make it as good as possible. So it's the first day. It is live. A little bit icky on the side, but you know what? We are trying our best to make the show as good as possible for all you beautiful people out there at home. So hopefully things will be going good. But now we still want to talk a little bit about the gameplay here, because we saw the map, we saw what was happening. The game might be over by now. I have no idea. It might be. We might already have a winner. But I was saying then that I think that one team that would be in a really good spot would be the side of Aphelion APX. I would love to know, actually, for yourself, Blank, what team do you think there potentially had the better opportunity to take the dub?
You know, I actually quite like Zeus's position, to be honest with you, towards Dockside. They've not quite made their way into the circle, but I feel like if they took that eastern path, we've seen a lot of teams take that one, they could have potentially swung in on the eastern side, on the right side of Quarry, which would have been good for them. And there's some decent hard cover on that side as well that you can like bounce between. I don't think they had the best position. I'd have to take a quick look again if I wanted to give you that exact information. I know I've seen it for like 5 minutes, but it's not quite
it was
ingrained
a
in
PNG.
memory yet. Yeah, it was
a
a PNG
.png
file. Help! Help! But yeah, I think if I was going to be any team, I would have been like, I'd like to be Zeus. I like having options available to me, you know?
Yeah, I think that Zeus is also in a really good spot. The thing is I'm hoping they're not going to be playing like edge of circle and like just taking their time and just waiting for the circle to keep pushing them in. They're in a position where they know that no teams are dropping in that position because of the playing path, how it was going. You could also predict that that's going to be the case. And just in general, if you guys watch a lot of PUBG Mobile esports action, you would know that I don't know why that happens, but teams just don't like the east of the map. Very little teams drop there. Mainly teams drop over to the west, to the central part, but never to the east. And you know that if you're going to be dropping in that position, you're going to be heavily uncontested. So they could easily just make their way away from the circle, edge of circle, go on the mountaintop. You got like, what is it? I'm looking at my screen right now. Like you had what, 8, 9 compounds to hold on to? That's so much free real estate to go for. And if you go one of the first teams there, you should be good.
Have you brought a map up in your own time?
I took a screenshot.
You screenshot? Right, send me that screenshot right now. Do it.
Okay, yes, sir. I sent to you right now. Give me a second.
We use modern technology. It's going to paste it across for me. Maybe I can like
PNG.
Screenshot. Is that what you've named it? What is this? How many screenshots do you take?
I screenshot everything.
0.
I got
apparently. There we go. Very nice.
You got it.
I can't believe you were able to the foresight on this man to be like, you know what, I'll need this soon. It's just a massive.
I'll need this for later.
Play. Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking at this right now. I can't quite paint a picture to you, but I'll try my best. Godsend currently on the north side. They're in a pretty standard line position. Which is going to be able to let them sweep down the map, right? Erase the crew. They're currently in Paradise Resort. Now, Max mentioned this early. They should probably be moving right now. Obviously, I know that they're frozen in time and space, but when they are unfrozen, they need to move. It is time to go. If they go any later, they're going to be caught high and dry outside the map. You said, affiliate APX, though. All right.
Yes.
All right.
What did I say about them?
Just calm down, Max. Oh, calm down.
Okay.
Look,
I'm ready.
I'm trying to compliment you here. All right.
Oh,
you said they have a really strong position. Now I'll agree with that. I will agree with it, Max. They're currently on the crossroads. This is a nice spot to be. Now, Max, enlighten us all at home why it is so good to be here on a crossroads.
Crossroad, because you can have already really good compounds. Like most of the time when you are playing on Sandhawk, you got yourself really strong compound positions, and also you can just play split. I don't know, English hard language.
No. We'll make a new
very
word. Split. So you can you play very split, just both
You're
split and spread at the same time. Yes,
you're split.
It's very good.
And also the reason why you can also just easily move into one section of the compound and just move in that specific direction, so that makes it really easy. And also purely for scouting, right? Like scouting, information gathering is extremely important when you are playing on a map such as Sandhawk. So if you got a good compound like on the crossroad section, it will help you out extremely heavily. So, and like you saw it, I feel on the APX, they can have one right on their on the west of their current position in Lakawi back in the past, and they can easily potentially make it over in that position. I think that that would maybe not be the best, because I think they can still make it uphill unless it was contested away by Zeus, which I think Zeus were in a way better spot to get access to that mountain compound. Okay. If they can get there first, they should be good. But once again, this is just trying to like guess and spitball what's happening.
There's like several different timelines that could occur at the same time here. We're just like branching out into like 1,000 different ones right now. Yeah, I think that potentially can head up towards that east side. I mean, there are 2 currently unclaimed loot boxes. And if we just, to be fair, look, do it this way, Max. If we split the map down, we'll split the circle from the very northeast edge to the southwest edge, we can comfortably say that out of the, I would say around about 14 teams here, just taking a quick guess, just a guesstimation using my massive noggin, there are only 3 out of the 14 teams down towards the southeast.
And we too are going to try and stay connected this time in style. My name is Maxman was Blank once again, and sorry for the delays that are happening on the broadcast today. Hopefully that is going to be it for the issues today, and now we can hopefully keep on going with the normal schedule that was planned beforehand. But now we are slowly going to make our way, please hope, making our way into game number 3. Hopefully I do not jinx it on that one, but we did have game number 2 that did happen, Blank, that I do think we got to talk a little bit about that one, because Sandhog did have some expected and also unexpected results, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I called Zeus. I set that a nice little position down towards the south side. They came first. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty intelligent. That's all I'm going to say.
This guy.
We have a look at these other things that are happening. We got the Eraser crew coming through in 4th place. You mentioned they had a really nice spot towards Paradise Resort. And, it does give you a lot of vision forward, but they obviously did not move fast enough because they were not in a position to take the win away from Zeus Esports coming in that 4th place. Still, 4th is a decent position to end up in, Max. What I'm most interested in is the fact that Gamers United Nations Gun were able to grab 8 kills total towards the end there, despite being out towards that western side. They certainly did a lot of fighting, brawling to grab that 2nd place.
I believe they were just able to wrap around the side of Quarry, and after that, they were just able to hold on to a good position. I believe maybe on the mountaintop position, because we do not know where the circle finished, so we're just trying to do wild predictions into this one. But if Zeus did end up taking the win, you can expect it maybe did tend to go a little bit over to the eastern edge. But before we do dive into our 3rd game, that, by the way, is going to be on Miramar if things roll out as smoothly as we are expecting, we do have to also keep in mind the fact that this tournament is sponsored by Oppo Reno 5 series, which is the official designated smartphone of the PUBG Mobile Middle East and Africa esports in 2021. So, of course, it is equipped with excellent hardware and software for gaming. The device should always be your lift to the upgraded fun and enjoyment in the battlefield of PUBG Mobile. So if you guys want to avoid having a .png like we had earlier and you want some smooth gameplay with the 90 hertz on your screen, that is going to be definitely the phone for all you beautiful people at home. But now, Blank, we're going to be shifting our focus a little bit to what's happening into the future and hopefully not go back to the past like earlier. And we're going to be having to talk about Miramar. Coming on the map onto this one, I got to say, I've been happily surprised by some really good rotations. Like Zeus, you called it out in that last game. They had some really good rotation potential. They did take the dub off of that. And rotation is like Miramar is all about rotations really coming into it. So hopefully now we're going to have some good rotations coming into that one. I'm hyped for Miramar. I can't wait to see how these teams are going to evolve and improve on this map.
Yes, Miramar should be some good fun here for us. I mean, rotations are the name of the game here. Got to make sure you have some decent vehicles on board. I think APX, have managed to show themselves up as a team that knows how to use vehicles very well. So I've got my eyes looked out for them, and we'll keep the eyes peeled on the sand dunes of Miramar, see how well they are driving those vehicles, make sure they got all that suspension in check and ready to go. When you got that spring nice and tightly coiled, it is ready to spring off, and that's what I want FLA and APX to do towards the end game. We weren't able to do that in a wrangle. Obviously, they were just kind of weather the storm before getting that 2nd place. But this is an interesting map. It's my favorite map overall. So I'm really excited to watch it, Max.
I'm super excited too. Like you just talked about Affiliate and APX, and I want to say that currently in the overall standings, we're not going to be able to show them today, unfortunately, but we do have them on our screen on the side. Affiliate and APX, after 2 games, 2 strong performances, have been able to remain currently in 3rd position without a win, by the way, which is strong, but they've only played 2 games so far, so it doesn't really mean too much in the bigger picture, I would say, so far. So hopefully they can just hold on to that top 3 position and be in a really good spot. But also Godsent. I think that they're also a team that we haven't talked about too heavily. Godsent Temper have been able to get some really strong rotations. That first game, it was a pretty tricky one. They tried their best to play around Saverni position and enter through the east, and they were able to get themselves in a strong spot to remain now in currently top 5. After 2 hard circles that were really not going their way all the time. I think that they've been able to make the most out of it, and remaining top 5 after 2 games is still a really good showing. But now the thing is, after a long format tournament like this, you need to be able to stay up there throughout the entire duration of the group stage, which is possible. Hopefully they'll be able to make it up there. But now I do get a word from our production crew that we are going to be indeed diving into our 3rd game of the day, and that is going to be indeed on the good old dunes of Miramar. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the action for game number 3 of PMCO Africa.
This is a pretty interesting playing path already. This is all the way on the eastern side of the map here, going directly up past Los Igos here. You can see Chumacera down towards the bottom side. So should be an interesting finish all around for this particular playing path. It does kind of isolate things over to the western side of the map though, Max.
Definitely going to be the case here. The West is going to be an interesting one. After we do not know too heavily about these spots, these drop locations for a lot of these teams, so intrigued to see if we're going to maybe have a few hot drops. Usually in the past, especially the likes of PMGC and PMWLs, a lot of teams tend to put big focus on Los Leones for whatever reason that is. I don't know what the attraction point of Los Leones is, but a lot of teams do tend to like it, so we could have some hot early game fights happening over there. Or hopefully a few teams will go in my favorite drop location, which is Picado. In the entire game, Picado is my favorite spot. It's central. You've got road, you've got good cast bones, you've got access also to a really good high ground position just up north of that location. So teams that tend to go in Picado, I gotta say, got a good idea of what they tend to do, and they got good rotation potential overall. But there you go. I said it. A lot of teams do tend to drop in Los Leones, and I believe we've got ourselves two here, which is going to be in the shape of Pain and Zeus, just going to be chilling though, pretty far from each other on the north and southern side of the compound.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty easy place to share, all in all, Los Leones-wise, especially with the road that cuts between this actual city itself. It means that you can quite comfortably hold two teams here. I do see the circle actually drop towards Monte Nuevo and El Pozo area. Most teams over towards the eastern side of the map with that particular plane path in tow. So, interesting enough, we do head over to the western side of the map. Influence Rage just trying their best to edge their way over towards La Cobreria on the northern side, and 777 heading down towards Los Higos and Minas del Sur. So interesting stuff here. You see NEX dropping. You see a racer crew off in the distance, just holding strong.
I was just actually about to talk about Power AAA. I was going to no, it's 777. There you go. So I get a little bit confused with that one sometimes. But 777 here are currently in a position where I think they got easy access to basically whatever compound they want onto the west. Reason why, you got that big road running throughout the entire western side of the map. And if they make it into the compound over there in a position and get a good car, like they can rotate any compound they want. They want to go to El Pozo, easy peasy lemon squeezy, set it, and it is basically done. So I think that 777, if they play their cards correctly, and they do tend to rotate straight to the west, I think they'll be in a really strong position early on. As now we're going to be shifting on over to the side of Team 7. Team 17, should I say. It's going to be a racer crew. So they're just going to go for big old 4-man car rotation, which if John was here, you would get a little bit annoyed and mad right now. You know what? They're going to pull off some sick tricks.
Yeah, I mean, can't be shot in a 4-man vehicle push if you're about 50 feet in the air. That's very difficult actually to hit that. So smart moves from them. Very tactical indeed. I like it a lot. We have Alpha Pack here. Awesome. I love his little name there. And Wolf. Dude, Alpha Pack's got a cool name. And Wolf really repping Alpha Pack indeed. Playing the Wolf guard in there. Love it, love it, love it. This is Wazza as well. Believes this guy is the forward scout for the team just from the way he's been playing. And he's been making some pretty decent plays. Currently Alpha Pack, I'm not sure how well they're doing in the standings, but they haven't had too many standout games other than that lovely push we did see over in Erangel. Here's Spazza 6, though, currently at the top of the standings with 31 points, but not doing too hot there on Sandhawk.
Yeah, just saw Alpha Pack then. They're currently in 13th position, unfortunately for them, so they need to catch up a little bit if possible and get a few better points coming up their way, but that is definitely going to be possible in this one, and this will be a good time so we can actually check out the map if possible, or checking if the production crew could show that a little bit for us, as we can have just a bit of better insight as to what is happening around this beautiful map of Miramar and see what is currently going to be happening. But of course, you know what's happening is still the early game stage, still 30 seconds before Phase 1 tends to close up. If you can loot up, you'll be good to go, but Coco is just going to be cruising on by. Not going to get... Oh, I jinxed that one. I was going to say not going to get shot up, but he gets shot up pretty heavily. But you know what? Coco takes 0 damage from that encounter, moves back to the rest of his team, and he moved out to pick up another car, which I got to say, you can't have too many cars in Miramar. If you have no compounds, you're in the open, cars are literally a lifesaver. They're a lifeline, and the fact that they got so many now are going to potentially put them in a good spot later on.
Yeah, cars become your compound later on, to be honest with you, especially when you have open fields. You want to make sure you do have those cars available so that when the time comes, you can create those kind of pseudo forts for yourself where the vehicle starts shooting out the wheels, prevent people from shooting underneath them. Right now, I've got Revolution up, just trying to find a high ground position to start scouting forward from. Miramar is very much a map where intel is probably more important than most maps, just because once you make a move here, you're moving along long distances with no compounds, not too much terrain that's going to help you. You'll be very confident in your pushes. But right now, we've got Pain AF on the screen, El Chapo, and one team behind them there. Let's see who that is. El Chapo just taking a few shots, missing them.
I think that's good overall. Like, The reason why is because they do not know how many players are currently then. Like, this might be a full team. He seems like he's playing aggressive. A one-man team would not tend to play aggressive. It's just like, you know what? We just have no idea if it is a one-man player or a four-man team. So we're just going to be not taking a big chance in that one. It is an early game fight if you can avoid them, especially down in Miramar. Like, you can't go wrong in playing passive early game in Miramar. So I think that's a good idea for Zeus all around to try and just move away from Lost Lyoness because, hey, El Chapo, he's a scary dude. I got to tell you, like, you don't want to take a fight with him.
No, man. That guy's nothing to be trifled with. I've seen this guy in a tower with a SLR just popping heads left, right, and center. And, you know, the team kind of just took the ladder from that tower and was just like, look, El Chapo, I'm sorry. We have to keep you up there. You're doing so good. So he should be doing just as well for his team here on Pen AF. I'm excited to see some more of him. And we've got a little bit of this biking gameplay. It's one of my favorite parts of Miramar, just watching the players just so skillfully run around on those bikes. And you've got Philly and APX there off in the distance, just trying to make some sick jumps.
This is usually a time like Miramar because it's a very bumpy map. I just move around and I die because I just took a rock like the wrong way and my car just implodes into nothingness. So I gotta say, if you're able to drive on Miramar properly, and I mean, mostly for me, like, man, I usually never die to players. It's just I die to all bots or just like crashing my car, which is usually how I die most of the time. So yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about me being bad at the game. People are going to say you don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. It's just my fingers aren't well coordinated with my head.
I don't think people realize how tough the terrain is to actually get by. So this is why it's even more impressive these players are able to traverse it so easily. A lot of people will tend to use different vehicles for different options. I think the one thing I see the most is like the party bus is used for like these very open terrains just because it's got a lot of HP on board. It can take a fair bit of beating, but you really want that buggy if you're going over what we saw just then, which is very, very rocky terrain. You need to get through there handily. The buggy does it with ease.
Also really good for just creating makeshift compounds that you mentioned earlier and brought it up. So if you're able to get that under control and create a good point of pressure with it, that is going to be great. So I talked about 777, of course, Valdemar. That was the exact position I wanted them to go into, and that's exactly where they went. Now they can easily rotate through the road that goes right through Montenuevo and La Duriera if they want, or the right into El Pozo if they really decide to. So I think that overall, 777 got a good point of interest in terms of they can get access to anywhere onto the west of the map. So I'm pretty happy with their position overall. Other than that, we have a little bit of point of interest towards Power Grid, I do believe. So you go have Self's gun with another squad. They might be taking a little bit of a skirmish up there potentially in the future. So something to also keep in mind, as only one team currently is out of this lobby. So this is still a really, really passive start. But as to be expected from the likes of Miramar, things are going to be pretty chill overall. As over to the eastern side, who is that? That's going to be, I can't even see their name currently. Eraser Crew are delaying that rotation a little bit, but you can easily stay out of the circle on phase 1, phase 2, even phase 3, because there's just so much space on Miramar. You don't have to force it too much. As Zane, looking for a few shots, but as they're passing on by, nothing's going to really connect.
Yeah, this is just warning shots for Blackjack Esports. It's actually good that they're doing this as well, because one of their players is down towards the southeast of them, who's trying to reconnect with the rest of the team, just playing that backstop, trying to provide information from the behind this mountain, which is pretty smart, to be honest with you. I quite like it. I mean, with this huge rocky interface that you're playing around, what you've got to worry about is the fact that, you know, you don't really know what's going on behind you very clearly. So having a player back there to scout that out is quite smart if it's intentional. This is the player himself. It's Nukes. Like Blackjack Esports just holding him down inside a little compound, just providing that spy power for the team. Now, I'm really interested about this next circle as it just dropped down towards Picado. We're not going to have super interesting ending here, but we do have the hills of San Martin as well as Power Grid. So I'm really happy to see this. I know I said that in a French accent. Not sure.
I was about to say, yeah. That
was
actually a really good French accent. That was actually top tier, man. I'll give that a good old, like,
thanks, man.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. That was really good.
Toot on that French accent. Thank you, boy.
But so far, also, we're going to be seeing from the northern side, Inf are going to have to try and make their way through for Influence Rage Africa. They got themselves some good leeways. They can easily go over also to the eastern side if they really want to and have a little bit of a better entry point into the circle. But now the position up north of Picado, like the mountaintop that I mentioned earlier, which is really strong in terms of scouting, is contested. You got like, what, 3-4 teams already up there, and I believe even more will come and contest it if the circle keeps tightening up towards the center. I think the teams that are there early is going to have a really good advantage, but also a lot on their plate. Like, this is going to be hard because you know that a lot of teams will potentially try and get close by, even if it's just by rotating, but you're going to have to hold that one really tightly to not give it away. Ooh.
Sparza, I think that's a ridiculous movement there from Sparza 60. Quite honest with you, it seemed very silly from Coco. I mean, it's 100% there's going to be a team there. Kumaz, I believe that's Olmaz actually has to drop down beside the vehicle, but this position is obviously taken, and it's a very bold push from Sparza 6, and I think they absolutely deserved that knock there that came through onto Coco, and now they're down to 3 players, whereas Revolution Up just really levy this position to their advantage.
I mean, Revolution are going to be chasing down for kills, potentially if they can. Edity will make it away just in fine. Kato pushing out forward. He was feeling really confident, especially after taking down Coco. But when you're in these like of warehouse positions, it's really hard to deny them away. The only time you can actually fight with those kind of positions is by fully contesting, but Panic taking a great headshot to Madara. And he's going to be now picking up an extra knock for his team. Not going to get confirmed, unfortunately, as they are just way too far away. But still, they get himself a good little advantage. Just a little bit more chill time to heal up and heal from their own wounds. But that was a 6 shot on Miramar. You'll have to see it with the Mini 14.
Yeah, Mini 14 comes through clutch there. Evolution Up will be incorporating the Resurrection Jutsu onto Madara, bringing him back up into the game so he can heal and get back on with his wicked duties. But lovely little shot there from the Mini 14. I love to see the DMRs in action, especially on Miramar, like you say, Max. There, I think they're probably one of my favorite weapons to be seen used. I think a lot of times you can see these teams with just incredible spray control with the M4 do similar type of things from such distance, but you know, the Mini 14, when it does connect, you can see how lovely it looks.
Yeah, and what I just like the most is like sniper, but a lot of bullets. Hey, win-win. I can shoot a lot now.
Quick.
That's the fun part of the Mini 14.
Incredible.
Quick multi-scope. But so far, also the circle has been, you know, we saw that one, how it went. It went pretty central up on the northern side of Picado, so teams are going to be regrouping pretty nicely. I'm still intrigued to see what path 777 decided to take away from Valdemar. I think that they had a good potential rotation way, very similar to what happened to Zeus in a Sandhawk last game. So I think that if they play their cards correctly once more, they will be in a good spot. But some really good snipe shots between the side of Revolution Up and also the side of Spaza. They're just trying their best to find a few knocks and look sexy in the kill feed, but nothing comes on out of it just yet. The circle is about to shift into now phase 3, which is going to be going down to the southern western edge, right on top of Revolution and the fight also of Spaza. So Spaza especially, they might have to decide to move away a little bit, but they're still in a pretty strong compound, so they don't really have to move out just yet.
You gotta remember they lost Coco early as well. And Revolution Up have eyes on the position. I found it quite funny that Madara had also found a Mini 14 for himself and was just taking shots back at Panic. He was like, I also have Mini 14. I also good with this weapon. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Sick. Let's make this happen. Let's have a Mini 14 fight, which turned into quite a big Mini 14 fight. So this is interesting, though. A lot of teams are going to be struggling to get down here. That hillside that Affiliate and APX were holding is not as good anymore as they have to head down. Most teams will be looking towards that position. It does create kind of like this player break, though, on the eastern side where teams will have to roll up into them. But it's Godsent there going up versus Gun.
Yeah, a few frags will be potentially coming out from that one overall. We'll see if we can move over to that POV very, very soon. But now we're going to be on Spaza, and they have been actually moving a little bit away from their position. Well, not really moving, mostly scouting. DT is going to be actually up there trying to get some intel, and he's going to be spotting out the team that initially dropped into Picado, and that's going to be Blackjack Esport. They found a good compound away from Picado, nice into the circle. All good in the books for the time being, unless they get contested, which, from what I'm seeing, this is not going to happen just yet, but a lot of frags are now currently happening into the kill feed, especially Fallen 5. They seem like they're having a little bit of an edge on their own fight and picking up a few extra points along the way. Hopefully, they are going to be remaining in a good spot because they're not the best in terms of the standings so far. They still need to try and catch up to be in a really strong spot, but they're still in the top 50%, which is where you want to be at the end of this event.
Yeah, at the end of the group stages where you need to be to make sure you do head into those finals. We'll be cutting 16 teams from the bottom of this lobby. Only 16 will go forward. So it's a huge amount of players who will get cut here. So you really have to, on your days that you do get to perform, you know, really put on one hell of a performance indeed. Make it showy, make it flashy, and make sure everyone remembers the name.
Feeling on APX, though, they decided to try and move away from this one. They were potentially going to take a fight, but like, you know what, we're on edge of circle. We don't really want to take this one too heavily, so we're just going to move away from that spot entirely. As now, Nexus Esports, a team that we haven't had time to really talk about too much and look at, especially in these 2 last games, especially because I do tend to believe they were dying when there was just so much action happening on the screen, so they did struggle a little bit in those. Now, as Iris currently knocked away, they're going to have to put a few resources forward to try and potentially get the res up, which shouldn't be too much of an issue as they do have a sexy car to go along with it, but he is pretty far away from that spot, so might be a little bit tricky. As now, here it is, Aphelion APX taking a shot, and they mow down the car, and see you later, alligator. That's going to be it. Next, take himself 2 extra players down in the grave, and that is why your big car rotations at this stage can be tricky. There's always a team that knows where you are.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier as well. You got to be very confident when you jump into those vehicles and make those long pushes. Aphelion APX, though, they will be stuck behind this hillside. Again, this is what I was talking about earlier. They were going to struggle to make their way through. Cold rushes back towards the rest of his team, who have a couple of vehicles on board, the bike as well as the Golden Mirado here. I mean, painkillers, probably what you do want, because, you know, the travel forward is going to be very, very painful indeed, almost excruciating coming down this hill, but it's a racer crew versus Zeus beneath them.
Yeah, Racer Crew on top of the mountain, though. They're not going to be able to take the shots because if they peek over the back of the rest of the team back into the compound, they're going to contest it. Good grenade coming out from down below, and the headshot coming out from Phantom will actually connect, but that was actually really good stuff coming out from Zeus, how they're playing this, and Phantom picks up that 1 frag. But now, is this going to carry the opportunity they were looking for? I mean, MH is going to be going for the push, finds the opportunity, going to go for the random spray, picks up 1, but the rest came on through, and that's a 1v2 coming out from MHMD. And that's going to be allowing his team to push their way forward because they're still not in the circle, but that was a huge play from Zeus.
Oh, it was a massive play. MH just able to come at the top with the Tommy gun, just rouse them both off almost immediately. Gun shoots quick and lays body to the floors even quicker, so good stuff from there. Does drop the scar in hand now. Tommy gun probably not the most ideal weapon, but man makes it look like a bloody AWM.
The nice bloom shot too. Wowza, though. You mentioned he likes to... Okay, we're lucky. We'll just forget that ever happened. Sometimes I also do not look at my screen too much, but that is fine. Typical Go going to be crashing on forward for his team. He's there solo. The rest of his team is not there. Now they're crashing on forward. Ready to go for the full-on breach on this compound. Taking it now as a 3v3. As also you have Kato on the other side in the warehouse, not ready to really assist and help out on that one. But Duffy, no, don't need you. Oh my god, I seen that one, Duffy. How could you do this to me? But now it's still up to a 4v4. But Kato, from being so far away, can't really assist his teams. And if they get knocked, he just can't res anyone. He's in a really tricky spot. But a third party from a distance is currently happening on this compound breach. This is not looking good for any of the teams involved.
Revolution Up is just watching 777 kill themselves, basically. They're like, what are you guys doing over there? They're like, oh! Dying. This is crazy.
No one can kill Power 777 better than us, ourselves. But the rest will come on through onto Duffy and typical, hopefully. But Kato's still struggling to try and potentially come back with his team. His grenades still come up. Now they're like, okay, we're going to add a little bit of our grenades to the mix on this one. The Molly's... No! They also cooking themselves. Loki!
What is going on?
What is this breach? This has to be the worst breach in history. God damn.
I have never seen that is the worst thing I've seen in a long time. They even started off bad. I was going to say typical dropped into the building, got out too quickly, smacked his noggin against the bloody window, took half HP. Lockie runs in, throws a nade at himself, and then they just start burning themselves to death. And like I said, Revolution Up were just like, what is all the commotion going on downstairs? And then they just went down, took 2 shots, and then the team died, and they were like, what? Anyway, they hold on to the compound, so it works out well for them.
They gave me a Molotov a little bit too literally and just chucked it on him, so that's a big F in the chat. This stuff happens from time to time. You know what? We shall overlook it all around, but now Blackjack Esports, they are a team that currently struggling quite a bit. 2 of their players got knocked away as they're taking a fight head-on with one of the top 3 teams currently in the standings, Aphelion APX. Taking things a little bit slow. Be careful, though. Up the stairs, Cheddar is going to be there waiting. One of the top fraggers, I believe, from recent events in the African region. I see a lot of people loving this guy in the chat. Was El Chapo also. So intrigued to see if he can now deliver against one of the top teams already. He's going to get pushed up, takes up 1, but that's all he shall find. As Cheddar's going to be instantly flushed away from the lobby as they will get the rest back onto Blessing. That was a close one, but you know what? Not going to happen today.
Nah, Cheddar does go down. and Affiliate and APX managed to take hold of this compound. Blackjack Esports just still outside waiting, and here's Sparta. I believe they still have the 3 players alive. They've just been holding it down, but they are outside the circle. Revolution up. We're able to maintain that position. Nice shot from Hanad. We'll take down one from Wolf. Looking to move over the top side with the Tommy gun in hand.
Yeah, Tommy Gunn, of course, a lot of bullets if you want to take some clutch fights. That's definitely the way to do so. He's got now the information. Hanad maybe will be able to take it, but no, his teammates are there to back him up. El Chapo, the man, once again, looking strong for Pain. They get the res onto Hanad, and now they're up to already 3 kills. But now they've got to cross over the road in the south. Like, they could get contested away, but El Chapo is there to breach initially and create a little bit of a, just temporary position with this car, potentially to allow his team to rotate a lot easier.
Yeah, this position in particular has a few trees available to it, as well as a couple of ditches here and there. El Chapo takes an absolute beating, but should be able to get behind that vehicle before he's taken down. But now the rest of his team from PNAF have to make their way in. See Zuka here actually holding the grenade, looking to toss it over the top. But El Chapo actually moves away from the vehicle in a tense moment of intelligence, knowing that it's going to get naded out. Really well played.
Tezuka playing this one pretty good, but he's got a lot on his plate currently, taking a 1. Well, actually, no, it's going to be a 2v3 with his teammate. They are taking a 2-2 split for the side of Fallen 5, so they're going to have to be very, very cautious and make up for the Manta's advantage with just good position and good shot calling all around. Hopefully, they'll be able to do so. He is going to be pushing up a little bit, which I think is definitely the way of doing so. You don't want to allow them to get that res back onto one of the players, especially if it is El Chapo. The guy was popping off on game number 1. So if you can take him down to make sure of it, that would be great. But Kato, I mentioned it earlier for Revolution up. He was too far away from his team. But now that 777 did whatever the hell they did earlier, he was able to regroup and assist them in their endeavors, which is great to see. But now good smokes coming out from Pain. They're able to get the res onto El Chapo. Now back up as a 4-man team, but they still got to push uphill, which is looking really, really hard against Tezuka in such a strong position.
Yeah, a lot of kills coming their way now as we're in this open ground. A lot of teams won't be finding the positions for themselves to actually hold on to anymore, Max. There's a smoke on the top side, gives Zuka a little bit of breathing room going forward. I mean, sure, he'll be smoking in the fumes, but he'll be fine for the time being. I say that as he goes down to just a sliver of HP here, Max. It was good plays from PNAF, though. They were able to take down one player from Fallen 5 off in the distance. It was Falcon earlier on, gave him a little bit of time to pick up El Chapo. Now they have 4 players online here. You can see the fight raging off in the distance between Revolution as well as Sparza, and it will be Revolution up coming out on top there.
Yeah, good stuff from Revolution overall. They're going to be in a good spot. And also, their building is somewhat into the circle, like barely but surely. So if they just hold on to it and just play the time, they might be able to just get a 3rd or 2nd position 100% confirmed, because this circle is away from any kind of building and civilization. Surgex, dead center, going to pop the car. You mentioned it earlier, actually. It's going to come into action blank. The fact that these minivans are going to be so strong if you can use them as a good makeshift compound. And now they're like, okay, we got a super strong position. We got these cars that give so much coverage. Let's send the entire team forward. Who cares about Pain? They're going to be ticking down because of the blue. That is a great call coming out from Fallen 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's sure they lost a few players there, but because they had that 2-2 split, they have to hold on to a couple of players overall. Sure, Falcon dies, like you say, but now they have more options available to them. They won't have as many players, but they might get a higher standing here in the rankings today. Revolution up, we're holding down 2 compounds pretty confidently at the same time, and they've been in this warehouse for a long time. It's really, really been effective for them, and now they're moving closer towards the warehouse that they know is clear because they were there before fighting off against Spaza.
Yeah, I'm seeing a naughty purple team coming on through from the side. That's going to be Influence Rage Africa, team slot number 5, as they're just going to try and cruise their way forward. But unfortunately, no one of Revolution Up was really defending from that position. I think there was no one else coming on from the east, but there were so many people. Hussein picks up a great double frag. And that's going to allow them to get a double knock and push their way forward if they decide to do so. Trying to confirm the frag with the grenade, which I think is definitely the best way of doing so. But now you got that man advantage. This is your time to breach. This is your time to puncture into the building, into the warehouse, and potentially take this entire compound for yourself. But it's going to be pretty hard because you still got to cross over this open section. Hussein, oh my god, this guy is insane with his team as Hansley backs him up also from the back. So these two guys working really good hand in hand. And now is one player still up for the side of Revolution Up. He's going to have to take this one in a really bad man disadvantage. Going to try his best, and they're just storming on forward inside this building. Can he make it happen? Madarao Uchiwa maybe trying to pull himself a little bit of a nice trick up his sleeve. He's going to take some good significant damage, but struggling to take the fight, and he shall go down. Revolution Up are out in 6th position. 5 teams now remain.
Great stuff there from Houston. I think he found that moment where he was rushing through the smoke, found one knock, found the other, and then immediately is able, with the help of his team, to grab that knock through the window. If that didn't happen, Revolution Up might have survived for a little bit longer, and I think they have given up a really good position there when they should have played it a little bit slower. Influence Rage was just able to get up behind them. CE Sports trying to crawl away into this circle, but look at this. Pain AF still in the game with 4 players, Max.
I thought they were going to struggle, but they were able to snatch it away from Fallen 5, and now they are going to be the kings of the hill in this game. 3 teams now remaining. You thought they could not make it. I thought they were going to tick down because of the blue zone, but now they snatched away that position. Fallen 5 did indeed fall pretty far down. And now this is down to top 3, but I'm seeing Shady from Godsend up with the M249, and if he gets close enough in range, that weapon could be deadly, but in the open lands of Miramar, not going to be always the best weapon to have for yourself. But now the circle is moving over the other side of this road, over to the east, and now that's going to force Pain to make their way through over there. They used so many smokes earlier in that 5 versus Fallen 5. If they still got some remaining, it might be a redemption for them, but if they have no smokes, that rotation alone is going to be so hard to execute here, Blank.
This aggressive nature from Influence Rage might come back to bite them here, because I think they're going a little bit too close to this ridge side, trying to grab things they maybe don't need. El Chapo throws a grenade over the top. Could have gone terribly for Houston there, but right now, Influence Rage have a really good spot. And from a terrible position, they have just used aggressiveness to their advantage, just running down teams. And with 4 players online, that is nutty.
I mean, they got 2 players currently taken, focus onto Godsend, 2 players taken, making sure that Pain do not cross on over. This is great, and using also the verticality of their building is making matters so much easier in their own hands. Now the smokes, Godsend, this is just desperation smokes, trying to make sure they can survive as much as possible while those cars are doing something that's not very family friendly, I believe, but that's okay. Anyways, now down to top 3 teams still in this one, with 10 players still alive, but Godsend, they're down to a 2-man team. They're getting mowed down. The smokes are not going to be enough to keep you away from none other than Influence Rage themselves, and through the smokes, Skydo finds himself 1. Godsend are down to 1 more player, but smokes are still actually available. No way for Pain. This might be an opportunity for them to cross on over to the side of Influence, but they have yet to pull the trigger because they're still taking that fight with Godsend, as 6 God is going to be taken out of the lobby.
This is the time when PMPLs kind of needs to make a play happen whilst, Influence Rage are preoccupied with Godsend. Soon Godsend will be out. There's absolutely no way that your boy down there is going to get away with this one. Smokes are being available for a short amount of time, but PMPLs needs to get a knock, and they need it now, Max.
Oh, Shady's getting pushed up pretty heavily, and they know they got him cornered. They know they got the advantage, and during that time, Pain, they're getting spread away. They might be able to do something because of it, but Shady gets spotted out with the Groza, and that's going to be all said and done. Godsend out in now 3rd position, down to 2 teams. Oh, look at the kill! 16 kills, by the way, for Influence Rage. This team is popping off in so many big ways. 16 kills on Miramar is absolutely mind-boggling. And now it's down to it. A 4v4 between these 2 teams. If they pick another 4 kills, they'll be taking the first chicken dinner with 20 kills of the entire tournament. And that is super hard to replicate. Hussein going for the peak. Finds one. So much damage found, but yet the knock comes on through later on.
Oh, no.
As he finds the base. This guy, oh my god, Hussein, this guy is unstoppable. One of the best fraggers in the event for Africa. But they still backing it up. Hades did go down himself. They're potentially having another player knocked away. But Pain, they still have not pushed too far. The great shot coming out from King. That is huge coming out from them. But they still now to need to make something from it. El Chapo going for the push with the Uzi, but unfortunately will go down too. Skydo and Hansley still alive. 18 kills, 2 more needed, and they get the 20-kill bomb as King Gaming is going to be left now solo. In a 1v3, he goes for the shot, not able to find it, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Influence Rage Africa take the 3rd game of the day with 20 kills. 20. 12 of those for Hussein. What? Oh my god.
That guy is insane at what he does, and that is a fragger. Oh my god, the way he was rushing in to hit those opponents so hard was crazy. The amount of confidence this guy has online from him as well, it is unrivaled so far in this tournament. I mean, I don't think I've seen someone have that much confidence in a long time, Max.
I mean, not even just him, but also with Hansley. Like, those 2 were working together. Hassan would be pushing on forward. He doesn't get the shot, which happened very rarely that game. And then just Hansley's like, hey, I got you, bro. You're good to go. I'm going to get the knock for you. And then you can confirm the frag to bump those stats up a little bit better. But overall, like, such a good play. And I got to say, all of that was also down to the fact that Revolution Up, I think, forgot about the East. They were protecting their compound into the warehouse, and like, you know what, we just took a great fight against another team into the east of the warehouse. We now can put focus onto the center, but unfortunately there was another team lingering in the shadows in the blue zone and just slowly pushing their way forward. And because they forgot that, that gave the opportunity to Influence Rage to breach in that position, pick up another 4 kills along the way, by the way. And then they just had the strongest position in the entire game because the circle came back towards their compound to get pressure on Pain and also on Godsend. They had a great position. They fought for it just so damn well. And like how they were playing, like their shot calling and also how they were just taking those shots, like that was insane. And this is what the African region has to offer in the competitive atmosphere.
This is what I was talking about at the beginning as well, Max, of this tournament proper, is that Influence Range in Americas was this ridiculously aggressive team with just this insane playstyle. And I'm glad to see that it's transferred across here to the Africas. Houston just completely leading that one up. And like you said, just great reinforcements from the rest of the team to be able to make that one happen. They were shot calling, and, you know, that shot calling had to be clear and concise for the way that they were just sweeping that map.
Well, you know what? With that said, that is going to be it for our third game of the day. I think that I have to call off a little bit after that one. That was way too heated of a gameplay for us. So we're going to take a very short break, and we'll be back shortly for game number 4 on Erangel. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. 3 games now in the books and ready to kick off our 4th and final game of day 1 of the African PMCO Spring Split 2021. And we have some great games today, you know, especially that last game coming out from Influence Rage. They had a fantastic third game, I do have to say here, Blank. And now into the 4th game. I'm intrigued to see what kind of little sweeps and little changes you might have happen in the overall standings, because we have some team up and down so far. It's been really fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, Influence Rage now right at the top there with 36 points total. Really good stuff from there. I mean, a lot of their points literally just came from that last game where they got 35. So let's be quite honest. They got, there was only 1 point they've had in the last 2 other games. This game is where they got pretty much all their points, but they zoomed to the top of the tables, which is great. Sparza 6 dropped down to 2nd place with 34, and Godsend is now tied there with 3 other teams, which is Sparza 6 as well as Apheli and APX. So at the moment, like, all teams doing pretty well, but Godsend, like you mentioned before, quite consistent, managed to find their 2nd place spot, but they were just overwhelmed by the power of Influence Rage in that last game with Miramar.
Currently, if you're looking at all of these teams currently standing from 12th position, you've got Eraser Crew with 13 points. And then after that, you got a little bit of a drop-off. You have yourself the likes of Alpha Pack, ES, that are currently with 7 points in 13th position. That's where you're seeing a little bit of a issue where you see a few teams actually falling behind pretty heavily, because it's still anybody's game, though. Like, as we said, like, this is just the first day. You still got a few more days to make it up through into the group stage. One bad day can happen. Don't lose your morale. Just keep on going. It's completely fine, and hopefully they'll be able to make it on through, even with the teams that are struggling, like Limitless Esports is currently only 1 point under their belt. But with that said, we're going to be having the answer to our questions we've been asking for the past few minutes currently in our screens, as it's going to be popping on through. Erangel back on the menu here, Blank. And we're going to see who will be taking the 4th and final dub of the day.
Nice cut through the middle here from the north to the south, but just quickly talking about Limitless Esports, I think, like, you have to be a little bit worried if you are this team coming into our angle. You want to get some good points here. Remember, we have had the same groups playing all day. It's been groups A and B, so they might not have a chance to play for a little while, whilst other groups will have their places in the next few days. But yeah, coming down from the north, from Severny down to Sosnovka military base, this should be an interesting one. It's very much through the center side, so places like Power, Lipovka, a little bit harder to get towards. Yasnaya definitely in reach, but Severny, a place where most teams will take a long trek up towards to get to, is much more accessible here. And, you know, Alpha Pack, they're going to happily swarm upon this one straight away.
Aphelium APX are just like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, we got 2nd position last game just by chilling next to Severny. We're going to do exactly that once again. But I didn't mention the fact then in game 1 that no one went on Sosnovka Island. And I think that if teams are potentially also looking out for an opportunity to avoid early game fights, even though we didn't have any early game fights happen on that first game, is still an eventuality, a possibility to keep in mind. And as I say, that seemed like we do have one team actually drop in that position. So overall, Spazza 6 are going to go straight in that position for themselves, take control of that spot, which I got to say, hey, I like it. You know what? It's uncontested. It's some easy loot. Easily can rotate into the circle too with this kind of circle. It's great to see. But circle, phase 1, dead center, not too much of an issue. This is way better than what we had on game 1.
Yeah, and even for Sparza 6 here as well, is the fact that pretty much everyone saw no team go down there on the first map, and then also if anyone was really scouting, they just saw one team there. Is it really beneficial to gatekeep this team anymore when you know there's so many other teams around you might need to be worried about? Sparza 6 is going to have a pretty easy time here down in Sosnov. You can see no one heading over towards that western bridge straight away. No one's even congregating around the eastern either. So I think that Sparza 6 could have a good game ahead of them as long as they can navigate the terrain ahead of them. Coco's got to be a little bit careful here. We saw how reckless he was in his speeding on Miramar. I think that's something they need to pay attention to. But already we have one player going down there from that. I think that was from Nexus Esports.
Yes.
As they take one knock.
They had a 2-1-1 split, and if you want to split early game in Erangel or Miramar, I'm like, hey, I'm completely down for that. I completely get it. If you want to split farm, like, and just split loot in general, I'm cool with it. I think that's fine. But you're split dropping and sending one of your players in sorry, not even Rostock. They went in what compound was it? I don't even see where it was. They went in a compound regardless. It was going to be contested. A little bit unsure as to why you would do that. If you want to go split, you want to try and stay somewhat close to each other. So unfortunately, they did struggle quite a bit because of that. So you know what? it's a learning curve. Hopefully not too much of that happening going into the future. We should be good to go. But it seemed like once again, we do have Limitless Esports not in this lobby, as we do spawn in with 15 teams, which seem like they may be having some issues on their end. Hopefully they can get that fixed by the few next day so they can actually play, because currently they are 2 games behind the rest of the lobby, which will cause them quite a few issues if it keeps on going this way.
Yeah, luckily, if they're not playing tomorrow, they've got a few days to fix this and get ahead of the issue as soon as possible. But here, a Razor crew holding down school as well as apartments, a very nice little position to play from. Gives you a lot of potential going forward and a lot of juicy loot too. You got to be worried though, because this place can be quite easily held down by a fair few teams. So see Brad keeping his eyes out on the prize, making sure no one's coming in close. I think that is Revolution up towards their northeastern side here. So the Revolution up, we know, takes some decent compounds, but they were just overwhelmed last game by Influence Rage, who were just having a great time of it. Zeus on our screen, our Sandhawk winners, seem to be a little bit quieter last game, not able to do too much. We saw some good nades coming out from them, but you know, they were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place as we headed into those final moments.
Just a little bit split from each other, to be honest. Not too much of an issue. They're going to try and regroup
Split.
towards Sunken City. Split, yeah, okay, split. You're going to hammer that one down, really. Got to do me like that. Got to do me dirty. I thought we were anime bros.
That was my invention, bro. How dare you take split from me? That's my thing.
That's what happens. This is what we call caster synergy. He takes my mistakes and turn it into gold, okay? That's what happens. Goddamn. But yeah, actually, well, there you go. It was in Pachinki. It was in Pachinki that one of the players actually from Nexus did die to the hands of, then now it is the side of Blackjack Esports, as they're just holding on strong to already 1 kill points off to a really good start. But they're all like really cornered up against in the southern side, so they're just a little bit cornered. A team could easily breach into the northern side, but really the thing is, if you guys are familiar with the competitiveness and the esports scene of PUBG Mobile, you know that no one in their right mind would breach Pachinki this early on. It makes no sense. They're just like, you know what, we're just going to all farm together, nice, all close and cozy, and have a fun time along the way.
Yeah, I mean, for Pachinki, really want to get in, potentially stick around there depending on where the circle goes, and then get out. A lot of times teams don't really try and control the entirety of Pachinki. We saw RRQ, who loves that particular position. A lot of times they give up one side of Pachinki just to another team, and then just play it safe, because they know there's more than enough loot there, and really it's just kind of like a landing zone that players can just kind of like leap from, and be like, you know what, that position looks good. The compass is saying over there, let's go. But then it gives you great rotational paths out of that particular city. Unlike places like Kameshki, which, in case you've got to go around Stalber, it's a lot more of a difficult task, with Pachinki being so central. You're having a good time of it, which is why it's so hotly contested in a lot of your classic games at home.
Oh, King Gaming, he was doing so much work for the Son of Pain in last game on Miramar. Going to take a few nice suppressing shots, but Kato will be able to make it away. But now the information was given away, and as I say that, I jinx it for the Beast, as he does find himself 1 great headshot to Kato, so that's going to be 1 extra kill going over to Pain. But now that, as I said, the intel is given over, Revolution, they're going to be a lot more wary of their next move and be a lot more cautious, as they do have a few cards to play with. But Pain, they're not giving away that spot. They are holding on strong. They want these frags blank.
Do you think it's Kingamin or King Gaming?
Kingamin? King Game? I don't know. King Gaming makes a lot more sense to me. But I'm a little bit unsure, to be honest.
It does to me as well, but it's missing a G. And I thought, isn't it Kingamin? And I was like, wait, actually, no. What Max is saying sounds a lot cooler. I think I'll go with King Gaming, to be honest with you.
Now you got to change your name. You got to buy some points in the game and change it right now.
Yeah, come on, add a G. Add a G. Come on, we need to get it right. We need 2 G's in there. Well, I'll start calling you Kingamin, which sounds like you're king of the Pikmin, which no one wants to be quite honest with you.
Or maybe he just does fusion, just like a fusion of them together, just like in Dragon Ball Z, and they're just like 2 G's in 1.
No, that's not how it works. Come on.
Okay, I'm trying to change English. We're trying over here. Okay, it's time in dire need, but still Pain. They're going to be chilling on this side of the mountain. Not too much happening. They're going to go also, which I really like, 2-2 split, 2 players on the side. They're in the compound a little bit further down on the hillside, which is great for information gathering, as a good temporary position to, if a team does get close, send the entire team in there, defend it from that spot. It's a way better and way stronger position to hold on to. So I think overall, Pain, they got this position locked down. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're playing it pretty damn well.
Yeah, I think it's a really nice spot to be honest with you, up on the hillside. It's like a really classic position for gathering information. and just writing it all down in their little booklets, little journals, see what they want to do next going forward. Panic taking a few shots from Payne. You can see that actually happening, and he's very casual in his parking of that vehicle. He's like, come on, guys. I'm trying to park my car. Leave me alone.
Let us put it where we want, please. But they're going to have some fun time for the time being, at least. I'd love to see exactly what the map is looking like right now, because we're about to close off on phase 1. We're about to head into phase 2, so that's going to make things a little bit easier for these teams to potentially know where the circle will tend to go, because the phase 1 circle and also the plane path alone were just great. Like, you couldn't ask for like a better start of the game. Is even Steven for all the teams in this lobby. Even if you do tend to play on the edge of the map entirely of the Erangel, you can easily find a good entry point and a good compound. So I think that phase 2 is still going to be pretty chill, pretty laid back, and I think teams are going to be taking this game very, very slowly, way more than what happened in game number 1, as it did tend to go pretty wild going into the game of phase 4, phase 5. A circle's about to come up, but everyone is already dead center here, Blank.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is not a lobby where a lot of people are playing that edge at all. People are like, we want the center of the map, and look how contested Potato Hill is, and rightly so. This is a really nice spot for getting that a little bit of extra knowledge of where you want to go next, where players might be situated around you, and how you want to deal with that. And I mean, now with the north east push here on the circle, most teams be a bit worried, because they've got to pass a lot of roads. They've got to make sure that their actual rotational paths are safe. There is a team up towards Yasnaya Apollyon. Didn't quite catch who that was, but they'll be in a good spot here. Even so, the river's also involved, so this is a little bit of a tricky circle here. It might seem simple on paper, but I really don't think a lot of these rotations are going to go as smoothly as people would like, especially with everyone rotating together at the same time.
As we were bringing up actually the river for a second, actually up north of the river, we saw for a few seconds, Influence Rage are actually moving straight up north of the riverside, trying to take control. And I think there's another team in the northern side of the river, but they are basically almost alone there. So Influence, I think they're playing their cards really, really well when it comes down to getting in a good northern position to make sure you're not going to get involved in a fight in the early game stage. But here, talking about getting involved in a fight, seemed like Payne, especially El Chapo, pushing on forward with the rest of his team. High ground position is going to be held on strong by C Esports. But they are just moving around. They're not sure really what they're doing currently. They're a little bit spread. They've now got the intel as Godsen is just going to be moving on by. And I think that here, Payne, like, we're a little bit pinched between two teams. If Godsen stop, we're in a world of trouble. So El Chapo's like, we've got to commit somewhere. And he's got a compound that's down below. He's going to move into that position, allow his team to move too. Which I think that the moment they saw Godsen, that was the play. Because if you get pinched on the side of the hill, that is like the worst position to be in.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's difficult to move down from that position as well, Max, because you can either try and run up the top side or run down to safety, but either way, there is a long moment where you're exposed to gunfire. Payne AF, though, they find themselves a position that they can hold down. I like this spot they're currently in. It's kind of like a god position, just because to get to it, you have to breach a lot of these ridge sides where immediately Payne AF can see you from the windows, and it gives them a lot of cover going forward. It does limit their viewing options outside of the actual compound. Look, you're not going to be getting the greatest of views with this current piece of estate, but what you will have is a lot of safety going forward.
Alpha Pack, not too safe just yet, unfortunately, as they're going to get breached up pretty heavily. They're going to get caught up by the side of Spazza 6 to dictate this first dub of the day, by the way, on Erangel itself. So they seem like they are pretty knowledgeable when it comes down to the grassy pastures of Erangel all around. So they're looking pretty confident, but they're going to try and contest it away. But unfortunately, they are pretty spread away from each other. They only got with himself one player, B-Jerk. He's going to be on the 4 side. Going to try and get himself a few nades forward if he can. Nothing going to connect just yet. But waiting for his team to potentially come pick him up. He does have the buggy, and with that smoke, it tends to show that he might want to try and go for sneaky pickup with the buggy and move away from that spot. But he is pinned down, and it's pretty stressful for him to move away. We can see that smoke road. That's laying out what Bizak is going to be doing here. Get through the smoke road, back to your teammate behind the ridgeline, and he should be good to disengage.
Yeah, Berserker's going to need some guts to get out of this position, and a pretty big sword as well to boot would be pretty handy in this situation. But Alpha Pack have eyes on him. The smokes are down, like you say. Should give him a little bit of room to maybe try and wiggle his way out of that one. There he is. Yeah. The buggy gets over the top side and gets out of dodge. So really good stuff from Spazza to back up their player who had gone in to try and get a little bit of a better feel of what was going on in that area, but they were able to get out. Next circle does head in. It's still split off by this river. Philion APX as well as Fallen 5 in a decent position. Influence Rage are looking for that spot within the circle that's going to be most useful to them. But it's a Razor crew who actually have a nice spot towards the center.
Yeah, they got a really good position to hold on to. I'd like to see if they can try and play their cards correctly and play that spot really well. If they can do so, they could be looking for a really strong game, potentially a few extra points coming up in their way. But paying out from that compound, they just don't really want to rotate for the time being. They're on the edge, but they're going to allow all the teams that were on the east beforehand make that rotation before them. So now you're going to move on over to the side of Sparza 6 as they're in their own compound down below in the valley side, looking for typical of 777. As 777, you know, they can take a fight as long as they don't molly or nay themselves. So here they might be given a chance, but still in the open, Typical, without a car, he's going to struggle heavily with having so many foes all around him. He's not making things easy for him, as the rest of 777 are just going to leave that position entirely. Typical has to go down, and he does get picked up by Berserk.
Good stuff there. Will actually flush him out as well. Affiliate and APX taking a fight with CE Sports, actually losing a player there too. I think for 777, this is a game they need to go well. They got 2 points on the board, but a Razor crew I mentioned earlier, they're kind of like just before the big drop off on 13 points, currently in 12th place, down to 7 points in 13th place of Alpha Pack. So they've not necessarily been doing the worst in this lobby at all. And I think they have the best chance now with this position that's so good for them to do well here on Erangel. And it being the last game of the day, it's a great place to prove yourself as one of the newcomers into the PMCO.
Oh, here we go. Apartments. We're going to have a little bit of shenanigans happening on this side of the map. 4 teams going to get involved. You also have Alpha Pack on the other side on the northwestern edge. So here's going to be a little bit of an interesting game. See who can make it out. But the cool thing about this position is that at this stage, you can host a lot of teams. Reason why? Every single building is like their own entity. It's very hard to cross on over from building to building. So they can stay there for the time being. But the moment the circle snaps away, moves out from the side of apartment, that's where things are going to get pretty tricky to play around. So hopefully teams are going to look into the future, see that this is not going to be worth a long-term position to hold on to, and they're going to try and leave it as soon as possible, because the longer they stay, the harder the chance of them surviving are actually going to be. So I hope that they see that this is not a long-term option and decide to leave ASAP.
I mean, apartments is very much one of those places where, you know, you need to have a bit of a thieves mindset, have that stealth coming through, like ducking and dodging between the backsides of the apartments, trying to get through to someone else's building, take out one player, move back. You know, it's assassination play style. We'll see if they can pull it through. It depends how long apartments stay in the circle, because they can be a good spot towards the end of the game. But right now, it's school where a few of the other players are hanging out. But yeah, I love that. I actually really like how a lot of apartment fights go down. And right now, they are dead bang center of this circle.
There you go. But with that said, I'm going to take back what I just said, because the circle is right on top of it. And you know what? Now you just got to stay there. Now you got to commit. It's dead center. There's no reason to really move around. So I say that now is good time to stick around in that position if you decide to do so. As now we're moving on over to CE Sports. They've been roaming around the map quite a bit, left, right, and center. So they've been having some good old fun. But now they're going to be taking the breach on this northern compound onto the eastern side of the map. They have yet to really get heavily involved with 777, as they got Loki down on his knees. The kill has yet to be confirmed, but they are taking that fight pretty slowly, as now Yumi going to try and push his way forward with Snowy X also on the top side of this building. He's on the balcony. They have no idea who is going to be up there to reciprocate that fight entirely. And they're moving down into 1v3. Great stuff. 777 down to, I believe now, is one player alone. Loki should get picked up very soon. But because of this fight roaring, that allows one team to just move on by, and that's the Affiliate on APX. Moving straight into the center.
Like, we'll take this quick moment to actually crash into Alpha Pack here. Kage and Rusty Boy trying to make the way in. Wazza holding out. One player just flitting all over the screen, somehow finds the kill. And now the two players from Affiliate and APX make this happen. It's just two players above, but they have full control of the first floor.
I'm really surprised. Affiliate and APX actually breaching two different buildings at the same time like that. You're feeling real confident to take back apartment. And I think that might be a little bit more than they can actually chew in that fight overall. Cold are going to be taking a fight solo for his team. But you know what? Might be able to make some sick plays happen like he's been able to make happen all of today. But here it is. Time for the side of Alpha Pack to take this building back for themselves. Almost trying to take a 1v2, but not going to be close enough. As Rusty Boy now left alone, and he will be able to make the play happen. And that is it. See you later, Alligator. Alpha Pack are out.
Look, I'll admit it, Alpha Pack, I love that play from Wolf. He was like, he knew that it was only a matter of time before they just started nading through the windows on the top side to force Alpha Pack's players into a worse position. So he's like, I'll just jump out the window, go in through the door and try and take some shots because I know they're probably hiding in the kitchen, just bottling up, bubbling away with those grenades. I loved it. I loved it. Unfortunately, doesn't play in his favor and the backup doesn't come through from Alpha Pack in time. But what a heads up play from Wolf at the end of the day. Still, Affiliate and APX, we cannot understate how well they played that fight. Particularly, Max, you mentioned it early, they're taking 2 different fights in 2 separate locations.
And they won both fights. Like, what can you say? Aphelion really showing that they are a team on top of the mountain currently. They are still only halfway up as the team's down south of Apartment and also taking some big fights. We'll move back to that one ASAP, as now we're going to be heading on over to the compound up onto the western side, I should say, of School. And that's going to be Fallen 5 taking their own fight currently up against the team up north. There's going to be Zeus Esports, but because of that road, it's pretty hard to fully commit to this fight. The easiest way to do so is with a good few sniper shots or long-distance shots, trying to find a knock or two, and then use a smoke road to cross on over to finish off the fight and finish off the opposing team. But here, no team is really fully ready to get to commit to it just yet. They are on the edge of the circle, so this is not going to be a good long-term option for the 2 of these teams. It is pretty damn sure.
It's Fallen 5 here, but we're down to 12 teams now, Max. 42 still remaining. That's quite a few for how small the circle currently is, and I think that's mostly due to the amount of compounds that are available in this area. You can see everyone playing on those edge sides, and I think this next circle is going to be the killer as it heads directly over to School. Oh my god. If I was to ever say classic match, it'd be right here. This is the classic match indeed. We're going to start how most of mine finish, or end it how most of mine finish, which is in School. Immediately, I just go down straight away. But I like this here. It should be an interesting one.
Yeah, this is actually my job location in game, so you know what? I'm going to be happy-chappy about this one all around, but here you go, Fallen 5. They're like, you know what? This fight with Zeus makes no sense. We're going to move away and crash straight into School, but they're on the outskirts. I've yet to make it into the swimming pool section. They're going to make it in there very slowly but surely, and here you go. They are now inside. They initiated. They got one player on the other side that's going to try his best to defend it. So let's see if they can make things happen for Eraser Crew as they're currently spread away from each other. And Brad knows that this is a fight that I just don't want to take. I'm giving up on this one entirely, make it back to my team. And I got to say from Brad, that is a great respect play because taking it 1v4, you don't want to take those odds.
Jeez Louise, you got Fallen 5 just inside the gymnasium trying to make it happen. They don't want to get picked straight away for this team. It is not a team they want to be on. In the meantime, they're just going to leave a Razor Crew to it and just hold it down over here towards poolside. Savage just trying to get as much information as possible. And you got one player out in the shack really holding it down. Here's Affiliate APX heading up to another building. And this is versus Influence Rage. And they're making it look easy versus them.
Oh my god, Cold, where's that off angle? I thought it was going to be a little bit hard for them to defend if they were getting breached upon, but it's working so damn good. And now Influence, they were struggling quite a bit in that one, but they are still staying strong, still up as a 3-man team as Houston, the top fragger of that 3rd game on Miramar, is going to be out of the equation. Scudo taking quite a bit of damage, but they're still in the circle. This fight, whichever team takes the dub in Apartments is going to have so much room to breathe with and play around overall. But Kage locked in that position and Cold can't assist him. They are just struggling. And Cold, as I say that, actually did get knocked away. So Kage, you're on my own. You're on your own, not my own. On his own, I should say.
It looked good towards the beginning of that fight, actually, for Affiliate APX. The roll-up was nice, but now Kage has to do something pretty insane here. You know, with their nade in hand, looking to bounce it off the side. Blackjack Esports, though, currently got a really nice position, but Kage slips away in the smoke. We'll drop the substitution.
True ninja. Oh, he gets out of it. Substitution, just like Naruto, feeling on good. He's going to become the Hokage of the Apartment position, hopefully. And I don't think the Influence have the idea of what's just happening. Maybe it was a smoke refresh will give them a little bit more information on what just happened. Kage just going to be taking his good old time behind the wall, and with that 3rd-person perspective, might be able to get the upper hand for a split second, but this is still going to be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Kage that they are not big odds of him actually making it out alive, but never know, could be happening.
Drops the pants. Very tactical move there. Very important to survival edge.
I do that every day, dude. I'm a pro gamer.
Dude, pants around the house? No, thank you. Eraser Crew, though, still holding on. And they've pulled the belt around because they're playing this game tight as hell. They do not want to lose this one at all. And they're really playing it very, very slowly. Fallen 5 still within the pool, but Zeus looking to make the dip here onto Fallen 5's position.
I'm surprised that Fallen 5 actually moved away from the pool section and actually moved a little bit close into the center of score, but great shot to Coco. I got the impression Coco is just always getting bullied in these games. I feel really bad for him. But Berserk also on the side behind that car, not going to be able to get Coco back up, I do believe. So that's an unfortunate run of events for them. But, man, this game is insane. Like, these circles on Erangel, back onto apartment once again. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, this is a beautiful finish. I mean, I love that pan from the observers there. We just saw all the players all in place. Savage just barely spots Brad as he runs away from the shack as about 1,000 teams just roll up on his position. Savage trying to take some shots through the windows here, Max.
Yeah, trying his best to make the plays happen for his team, but unfortunately going to get backstabbed in the wind, and Fallen 5 down to 2. As they have yet to move their way forward, and they are struggling heavily. But Hamzy maybe trying to find a few shots, but not able to make it happen just yet was Dazuka. But they have to move away from this position. They're currently outside of the blue zone, and they're going to struggle heavily. Now they're looking for the shots. Coco going to get confirmed. That's the first kill actually for Fallen 5. They're feeling pretty good about that one. We're finally falling down. We were just at, what was it, 13 teams just a few minutes ago, and now we're down to 9, and many more teams will go down in the remaining few minutes of this game. So things are looking dire for a lot of these squads, especially the ones on the outskirts that are going to struggle. But Zeus actually able to just move around Fallen 5 and make it inside of school itself. That was a great way to make yourself closer into the circle.
I love the Razor Crew's movements here. They've managed to make their way into the school block proper. But remember, Blackjack Esports out the way, just looming off in the distance. They were able to control apartments so handedly, and now they're getting ready to third party this entire match, which is happening all on its own towards school side. Fallen 5 having a really struggle bus of a time here. Razor Crew have all eyes on them, and Fallen 5 do not currently have all 4 members, and even that, they're pushed by the Blue Max.
With so many windows, I'm just surprised to not me see many grenade plays, but maybe they just don't have any more remaining. Though they're able to cross on over through that little door section, they will make it inside the remaining part of the building of school and try and contest it away. Fallen 5, they've been going through thick and thin, and yet they're still alive as a 2-man squad. But here it is into the corridor, making on through right behind one player, but no, he gets mowed down, loses up 1, and his allies there to maybe back him up. But Hamzy goes down also, and that will be it for their team. 7 teams now remaining, so they'll make it up in the lecture room and potentially get back as a 4-man team. But the smokes will be coming on through to buy them a little bit more breathing space. But that was a desperate move coming out from Fallen 5, and unfortunately for them, it was just not going to be enough.
Oh, yeah, they're in the lecture room right now. They got the PowerPoint on, and they are slamming the left click button. They want to try and get through this PowerPoint as soon as possible. This PowerPoint is about CPR. They've got to get those players back up on board, because having 2 go down at that moment makes things very difficult for them going forward. They had to spend a lot of time getting those players back up and not enough time repositioning when the circle is still not in their favor as of yet. Game is United Nation. They take a knock here. It's not the best for them. Zeus trying to make their way up in their position, Max.
They got the great shack. Like, they got a shack that normally would not be rewarded, but here, because of the circle and how it's going, they might just be able to take a fat dub because of it. But though they're all jumping out of the window, and Zeus are like, what the hell is happening behind us? Picks up 1, maybe a double, and through the smoke, it doesn't matter. You know where they're standing, but they got to move outside of this compound, outside of the walls, to make sure you don't get mowed down by Zeus. But that was a risky one as Machine That Smoke. We saw it bounce back in your face, but we good, guy. We are good, guy. Don't worry too much about it. But now still the circles. All the teams are still taking that huge fight into apartment. And Influence, they went out way earlier in that fight entirely, so they struggled quite a bit. But also the side of Kage is out of the equation. Aphelion APX will be eliminated in 6th position, finally down to top 5 teams. This is an insane finish once again on Erangel, I gotta say, Blank.
It really is. Everyone's fumbling the pockets to try and grab the keys here. They want to get in and get it as soon as possible, but everyone seems to have misplaced them. Iron Man still taking shots down towards a Razor Crew, and they have taken heavy casualties here. Iron Man currently trying to still go forward. Iron not quite strong enough to hold out against the blue, so we'll have to move forward pretty shortly, and that's through the smoke that is quickly dissipating in front of him, and it's no good. A Razor Crew, currently, they get revenge.
The Shack of Doom for Zeus, they struggled heavily, and Gunner will pick up an extra few kills, up to 8 already on this Erangel game, purely based off of the Shack play. That is going to be stonks for them. Hopefully, they can get a good win if they can do so. That'll be huge. But now down to top 4 team, as I said, as we still got one sneaky player coming on through from a Razor Crew, as he was able to make it out alive and escape school. And now,
don't you think this is hilarious, Max?
Oof. Yeah, this is a weird one.
Single player in Shady and single player in Ghost. We couldn't have written it better.
Well, Ghost is going to become a true Ghost, apparently, and that player is going to get taken down. 9th kill over to Gun. And Shady just being indeed Shady in the shadows, in the grass, waiting for his time to come as he's going to try and snatch away that second position. But Gun still knocking Nerf Me and also Slim. Trying their best to get the information, but there's so much grass remaining in his position that it makes it pretty hard to scout as anyone is just snaking their way forward. But they still got so many smokes because they would just been chilling in this shack, avoiding detection this entire time. I'm sure they still have a bunch of utility that could be detrimental to close off this game.
Yeah, here Gun and Blackjack Esports just crying out, will the real Slim Shady please stand up so we can grab a second place spot? Please, Godsend, make it happen. Blackjack Esports, they take shots onto Gun straight away, but they're firing back onto them.
Oh, Nerf Me, there you go, deserving of the name. Nerf this, as you would like to say. But unfortunately for him, his teammate did get knocked away, so that's going to buy a good, precious amount of time over to Blackjack Esport that has shown some really good promises on that first game of Erangel today, and they want to close off this one with a win. But Shady, once again, he's got the information. He knows where everyone currently is in this lobby, but he knows he does not have the man advantage. The second he pops a shot, he's going to be in a world of trouble, so he knows he has to aim for that second position minimum, while Gun is hoping he could steal those 2 frags away.
He could.
1 minute one, but he's just being like, the respect from this guy. He's just waiting for better opportunity, which I gotta say, that alone is huge. Gun losing 1, an extra player. They're down, almost eliminated, but Nerf Me just barely surviving once again and gets mowed down by the side of Blackjack Esports. And behind him, they don't see him. He goes down to the blue zone, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Blackjack Esports will be your winners of game number 4 on Erangel.
Well, Shady did not stand up at the end, but he will have grabbed himself that second place spot, so he might not be able to stand up on that podium, but be really happy with that one. Blackjack Esports did such a good job there, though. Really fantastic stuff from them. You saw how well they held down that apartment complex as well with the 2-2 split in the 2-second story apartments there, so really strong stuff from them. Love to see it.
Really, the apartment fight, I'm thinking, they were on the southern side of apartment. That means they had to go through all of the mess, all of the mayhem happening in that compound and make it onto the outskirts of it to make into the end circle and take the win. Like, they took 4 squads out in this game just by seeing how many kills they currently got for themselves. So overall, I gotta say, Blackjack Esports came out on top heavily, fragging it out in style. They showed promises in the first game, and they delivered in game number 4 currently. So really happy to see them pop off. But Godsend too. I got to say, sometimes you're going to have that 1 player alive snaking his way through. A second position purely based off of Snake from Shady was 2 kills on top of that. Hey, I'm going to say super worth it for the side of Godsend.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They're really happy with that. But Blackjack, just like the game, they stuck and then they hit, and it was absolutely fun for them in those last moments. And I think you're completely right. They did have to play cleanup coming out from the backside of apartments because it was tough. They were wandering through absolute carnage on the field there, and they were able to make it happen in those last moments. So really, really well done to them in the end. So what we like to see going forward, though, is more of this playstyle. Very, very calculated, very, very much waiting out the right moment. I think Shady's a perfect example for that. And you mentioned that during the cast, is that he was super respectful towards Gun, and it netted him that second place.
Sometimes just not taking the shots is going to be more worthwhile in the long term. But also, we were talking about the side of Blackjack and how this was a big game for them. Before this game, after 3 games entirely, Blackjack Esport were in 11th position, was 18 points, which is still pretty good in 3 games. It's a somewhat decent average. But overall, this is going to be picking the pace up so heavily for them. I do believe we're going to see them in like top 3 or top 4 position minimum after this game. So that's still a really good trend from them all around. But there you have it. With that said, there's our 4 games already done. And I got to say, we had some great plays, but Influence Rage, once again, they were taking fight after fight in that position in the apartment complex. And they, once again, are proving themselves that they're one of the most aggressive teams in this lobby. And by the way, that was with Hassan being dead initially. With Hassan alive, that could have been a completely different ball game for the side of Influence Rage. And I would love to see what they can bring to the table going into the future, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see them make it into the finals. Like, this team is just mental.
Yeah, they did some fantastic stuff, and I think that even getting crashed upon by Affiliate and APX, and it was a really good crash as well. It's very coordinated. Even those moments they're able to hold off versus a team like that, it was really cool to watch. And especially after we watched on, I believe it was Miramar, Affiliate and APX. Oh no, it was Affiliate and APX just before that. They just won 2 fights as two-man squads, which is just crazy, by the way. Like, why would you ever do that in the first place? So. Really, really good stuff for them. And, again, Influence Rage, a team that I think is going to continue to impress me during this tournament.
I think so. I don't know if we can have the standings in time available so we can actually maybe update you guys. Oh, I believe we do actually got them available on my end. Oh, so we'll be able to keep you guys updated. But before we do talk a little bit about the standings and what happened after that fourth game for today, I do have to also remind you guys at home that this tournament is sponsored by none other than the Oppo Reno 5 phone, which is also going to be the official designated smartphone of the PUBG Mobile Middle East and Africa esports in 2021. So, of course, it is equipped with excellent hardware and software, as it should. For gaming, the device should always be your lift to the upgraded fun and enjoyment on the battlefield of PUBG Mobile. So, definitely, if you want to try and step up your gameplay to the next level, the Oppo Reno 5 is definitely the phone for you guys at home. With that said, so we do have then the standings of no graphics, unfortunately, for you guys at home, but we're just going to try and do it vocally for all you people
Max,
on the stream.
Let me give you a little suggestion here. How about you read off the first day, I'll read off the second day, and we can see who's in the top 16.
I like that. Let's do that one. So, okay, top one position is going to be then Godsend. Group stage. Wait, that sounds wrong. There you go. So that's what I'm seeing then on our end. So yeah, Godsend Tempo are going to be currently standing in number one positions with 4 games played up with 48 points, which is on equal standings with Gamers United Nations in also second position with the equal amount of points. So great stuff from Gun and also from Godsend. Then third position is going to be Blackjack Esports, and fourth will be Aphelion APX, which of course we were expecting a lot from them. Zeus in fifth. Sixth position will be Influence Rage, which they did drop off after that big win in Miramar. Then Spaza 6 in seventh, and eighth position will be C Esports here, Blank.
Ninth place will be Pain AF with 34 points, so they kind of fell off as the day went through. A Razor Crew managed to get 27 points on the board, so they have brought it up a little bit, fallen 5 down to 23 points. Revolution up, started off the day strong, but ended up in 12th place with 20 points. Alpha Pack just weren't showing enough there with 8 points total, but I really like the heads up play from Wolf so far. Nexus Esports with 7 points, Triple 7 with 2, and Limitless Esports in last, 16th place with just 1 point.
We know it can be a little bit complicated to understand what's exactly happening, but tomorrow we should be having a standings graphics for you guys at home, so we can update you guys a little bit easier throughout the broadcast. But with that said, it is time for us to end today's show. So I got to say thank you so much for joining us today. Tomorrow also, Blank unfortunately will not be here. No more meme jokes. We'll not be doing anime jokes anymore. We will be having James Banks join us tomorrow, so that's going to be great. But anyways, Blank, sorry. Thank you so much for. There you go. I'm going to get confused eventually. I said it wrong, but thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you coming up on the show and filling in the shoes of James for quite a bit, and we'll see you around for sure because you're going to be up in all the future PMPLs and all that good stuff, so we'll see you around. With that said, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place for day 2 of African PMCO.